Last time on the wilds of Valandiir, a classic tale of slaying a beast. In service of the good woodland folk of the treehouse village of Hopton, you availed yourselves to rid them of a terrible predator laired deep in the surrounding woods. After a going in guns blazing approach, and some of you finding yourselves being chewed, swallowed, partially digested by the monster, a well-placed disintegration beam vaporized the creature, leaving you to paw over its minor remnants in its lair for proof of its demise. Returning to Hopton, licking your wounds, and ready for the reward of your efforts, you stand at the edge of the village, an escort of archer hunters at your sides, and we pick up there with the savory smell of supper and mead clinging to the air as the early evening finds you all amongst the meager foot traffic of the elevated village forest floor. Take it away.
Well, first off, I am not licking my wounds because of all the acid.
Yep. Yeah, you're filthy. Your clothes are shreds.
Yeah.
Every ounce of cloth has been digested partially. Cribby stinks right now, which is not a state that you are accustomed to.
Nope. So I am requesting a bath, and it's good that I pack several changes of clothing in my haversack.
How about a prestidigitation until you can get to a bath?
Oh, I can do that myself. Yeah, fine. I can at least do that here in the short term.
Let me. I'll make him smell, better than he usually smells, or at least try to.
Can't a wizard literally just clean himself with that spell?
Hey, can't you clean 5 feet of space or something like that?
You crunch into a ball and just clean it.
Or wait, hang on.
Yeah, I make a couple of rounds of it.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you this. That was such an epic beast. It doesn't quite take. There's still a lingering odor and a kind of a tackiness to your skin that you feel like even though you've scrubbed it off with a spell, there's still a residue that the magic of this creature seeps into your skin, at least until a proper bath.
Yeah, at least I'm a scooch more socially presentable, but yeah, pretty rough.
Yeah, definitely. You've got that lizard tank smell, like that kind of piercing lizardy gross, definitely part of it is you, part of it is the slime. It's not a pleasant acrid aroma.
Nope. So, before we get going as far as, meeting with the mayor and all that good sort of stuff, I am going to request a bath.
Okay. There is only one place in the village. It is the tavern, actually, that has any semblance of public bathing, and it's like single little tubs. There's 3 of them separated in each. You'd have to lease the room for the night to have the use of the tub.
Okay.
Yeah. The place is called, eventually, I'm not going to make you roll to find it because this is a tight-knit, kind of dense, but small treehouse village where the trees all around you are huge. They're immense, and they're just jam-packed with little buildings built on their branches with, connected by these rope ladders. So you find pretty quick the kind of local watering hole. It's like one of 3 places. The other 2 are kind of smaller. This has rooms for rent, and 3 of them have bathtubs. That one's going to be a 10 gold a night kind of a thing. But there's also a community room that's actually kind of a group rate cheaper. Several individual rooms. And place is called Nathan's Nook.
I'm also probably going to go in for a bath because while I wasn't swallowed, I was in its mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 10 gold for a room for the night. And let me just do this. Yeah. Nathan's Nook is, for you guys that have been to big cities, Dane, Brackenshire, certainly the capital, a proper tavern has a pretty significant dining area in a place like that. You imagine everything has to get scaled down here. So there's only about maybe 15 small, like 3-person tables and a couple of long benches in the back. And, barkeep behind the counter who is it looks like he's doubling as a bartender and a hotelier. And he's kind of a short, squat dwarf with kind of a bald head on top and a big bushy black beard. He's looks a little reminiscent of the Mellish brothers. They as they approach, they kind of nod at them, sort of an understanding way. And it's 10 gold apiece, and he just sort of regards you all as you count out your gold. Well, what's a party like yourselves doing in a place like this now?
Oh, just going out at the behest of your leader to slay great evils and such. The usual.
Ah, a likely story. Well, what'll be besides your rooms? Would the rest of ye like to take up a larger room? We've got just enough for everyone to be lodged individually.
What say you guys?
I don't mind sharing with anybody. If you want to save money.
Yeah, sure. We'll take the great room, but 10 gold per individual room?
Only the ones with the bath services.
Okay.
And he explains to you that it's not just a tub with hot water. There are buckets of hot water to like warm it up halfway through. There are like three or four different types of soaps in jars that you recognize these bottles as almost exactly the same as the ones from the apothecary. Maybe she provides these to the inn. Okay. And just a pile of folded kind of tan. They don't look the least scratchy, but definitely better than you've had in the last 3 months. And the community room is going to be 20 gold for the night, but it does house 8 people.
Okay, cool.
Sounds good.
I look over to Ellie, and it's like, do you just want to get one private room just for the bath, or do you want one of your own?
She doesn't seem to really carry them either way, just as long as there is a bar that she can get into at some point. So,
yep.
All right then. Yeah.
All right.
We'll just take one individual room. Well, what about Reaper? Is she cool sharing a room with her? And the Mellish brothers, are they cool all joining up together?
Go ahead and make I guess like a perception check, but to see if you can notice things that don't really matter to you in the moment. We'll take a perception check. And Steph, if you want to roll perception for Baranor too, because he's always kind of looking out for the whole
my passive's 22.
Surroundings.
My passive's 22.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it.
Okay. My active's a 21.
Yeah. Let's see if I could get one from... Oh, I got to move everything. Yes. Steph, did you hear me? Sorry. Uh-oh. Oh, Steph, you're muted. I don't know if you know that.
He said I don't have access to his character sheet.
Uh-oh.
The only one on
I'm gonna...
thing is Reaper currently.
He's a ranger. I'm guessing he's got a plus 10 to his wisdom.
And,
but since he's not here...
I've got a pretty high one.
25.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to have him roll 2. And this is just yeah. So, Ellie, you're kind of in the back watching everything. This place does not resonate anything untrustworthy for you, and you're kind of a very cautious person just in nature. And you kind of in a almost unhealthy amount of paranoia, you're always kind of keeping an eye on your surroundings. And you notice the Mellish brothers kind of trailing, and as soon as the dwarf and them kind of locked eyes, the dwarven innkeeper started gesturing, around the area, and then you looked and you noticed that the Mellish brothers ducked out the front door. However, nobody else saw this, and it was very, very smooth. It's almost like one second you're looking at them, they turn, and they're just cloaked in shadow, running through the evening air.
I am going to subtly let Pravish know. Do we still have a mind link up, or is it more of a whisper situation?
Well, I think by now that psychic link has passed. I think he says it lasts like an hour or something like that, and it's taken you...
Just to roll for the number of hours that it works.
Right.
For.
What is it out of? A D10?
A D10.
Oh, let's do it. Let's see. These are the pitfalls of leaving without having your affairs in order. Oh, 10 hours. I'd say he was still up then. Damn.
Okay.
I'd say that's still up.
Yeah, okay. In that case, Iona is just going to think, our two friends are gone. And, yeah.
Baranor's going to spin around and look towards where you all came from and just kind of look around like, oh, yeah, they are. And then he's going to communicate that to Kravish.
Okay. All right, well, looks like we're whittled down our numbers. So, yeah, one private room and the one collective room should be just fine.
Okay, yeah, that's 30 gold. And he hands you a big fat key and a set of keys smaller keys underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
The room is upstairs. This actually is a 3-story treehouse, if you could all imagine that. It looks like it's sort of built around the central section of a tree's lower canopy. And, there's like outdoor bridges that connect parts of it and that stretch out to branches that have little structures on them. Some of the rooms are actually little tree houses out on the limbs, including your bathroom. Your room with a bath is actually kind of a suite. It's like a cabin with like 3 little rooms that kind of a central gathering. It looks like you could hold maybe like 4 or 5 people. And a large master kind of bedroom and a little dining area up on a little ledge. And it's all kind of built onto this branch connected to it by a large rope bridge. And the common room is well within the bowels of this large tree hotel. And it's definitely modest to more than modest. Each room has some freshening up materials, hot towels, a little mirror to address yourself with, place to put your clothes, and 8 bunks that Koza, unfortunately, hate to do this to you guys, to Koza and Kravish, it is small.
Damn.
But nothing curling up in a fetal position can't fix. Koza, when you get on the... yeah, just the really tall ones.
Justice for
you're given like a little bench to kind of put your shoes on, and there's a central like a fire pit.
Yeah.
And there's some kneeling pillows in front of each section of the fire pit, give you guys a place to gather and sit. And there is a savory smell in the air. You can also smell fresh beer.
All right.
All right. Well, I will let Iona take the bath first, because I'm like a gentleman like that.
Okay, I will go first then.
It is about 4:30, like I said, early afternoon. And just, simple asking around, it looks like a main sort of hall meal. You can order food whenever you want, but like a proper meal is served at a specific time every night, and you just pay into it. And not till like 6:30, maybe a couple hours later.
Okay. Don't use up all the hot water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that Azia is going to kind of like, you guys kind of like tour the big room and tour the common room. And when you guys get to the cabin with the bath, you notice Azia sort of tense up and she kind of like looks around and is like, yes, very nice cabin. I'm going to go to the other room now. Bye-bye.
Water.
She's not really into the old bath idea, it seems.
And I also said Iona does not use all the hot water. She doesn't.
Well,
Leaves enough.
as you are kind of neck deep in suds, you do see a halfling girl with sort of long braided, finely braided brown hair. She's got deep brown eyes, kind of a large sort of squashed nose, and she's about maybe 3.5 feet tall, and you see her toddling in, grabbing buckets and replacing them with hot water, and you see on her hip this little, almost looks like a lipstick container on her hip, and she kind of grabs, as she sets one down, you see her pull this little device out, and she touches it to the surface of the water. And all of a sudden you see a billowing kind of waft of steam erupt from this bucket, and she sort of puts that thing back on her hip and pulls another bucket out. So it doesn't seem like there's any short supply of hot water in this place, but you definitely you definitely are curious about these soap bottles. One of them is filled with a blue fluid. It's kind of dish liquidy. It's got like a slight viscosity. A couple drops in the water and splashing around, and you've got suds to last as long as you really want, within a certain amount, an hour maybe. And it's refreshing and muscle loosening at the same time. There's a crispness to the outer air. It's still, this room is a little chilly. Doesn't really affect you too much in the hot water. And just leaning there, maybe humming a little silent tune to yourself, you actually feel yourself nod off for a moment. And you kind of feel a shadow kind of briefly rise over your head. It chills the air around your ears and your chin. The wetness of your face catches a slight breeze of it with a chill that isn't quite comfortable. You kind of hunker down a little to where your chin is just about submerged, and you hear a whisper on that wind. It's distant, but it doesn't feel like it's in your head. You feel like you're actually hearing this. Yoda, see you still. What are you doing? I wonder. You kind of feel a chill. Something just passed over your consciousness. It sounded familiar, but so far away that it was a shadow of the voice you know.
Okay, so do I recognize this voice, or does it just feel familiar to me?
Yes. A little bit of both. It feels familiar to you because it has, you kind of know the difference between someone with a low voice and someone with a high-pitched voice if they're whispering to you. And that familiarity deepens by the fact that you kind of know what your aunt sounds like when she's snarling and whispering. And this has a very, very close similarity to that. The inflection is the same. The accent is familiar to you. It's just very far away, and it's almost like this voice is not made of sound waves, but it's made of the wind itself, and it's just coalescing in certain frequencies that you're able to understand what it's saying. You return, but not for what you wanted. It almost feels like there's a spell being cast in your direction, and that's how you're able to hear this.
Okay.
And so about this time, she hears me like knocking on the door.
Okay, I straighten up more and I just stare out basically at nothing. And I say, my thoughts and actions are not for your 10 heretic. And then I get out of the bath and I dry myself off and I get dressed.
Well,
then,
at the moment, hold on. At the moment, you kind of can't move. It's not a spell being cast. It's not a spell being cast. It's a chill in the air, kind of keeps you in place for the time being. It definitely feels like you're being held against your will psychologically, but there is no response to your reply. And the water, all of a sudden, you realize, you kind of blink yourself awake from this, whatever this was, and the water is frigid. It seems like it's been some time since since you warmed it up, and you just all of a sudden shiver yourself and like come to and realize you've been sitting in the bath for like 45 minutes. Just staring at nothing. You notice that the evening light is even dimmer in the window next to the bath. You can hear Kravish knocking on the door. You just lost like over a half hour of time.
Can I move now? Or is it still...
Yes. Nope. I'm just saying that's when you shook yourself awake, that's how long it took.
Okay. Right, in that case, I get out of my bath, I dry myself off, I dress, I open the door.
And I'm like right there about ready to knock it down. I'm like, what the hell, girl?
And I tell him that Aura has cast some kind of spell directed at me. It seems to have made me fall asleep so that she could communicate with me, though she didn't have very much to say. Nothing much of substance.
Okay. I'm a little concerned. Yeah, you also notice that, I don't have a shirt on. I took my breastplate off and everything, and you can see all the different nicks and scratches on me, and there's a particularly gnarly one right over my breastbone.
Yes. Acid scar, if I'm not mistaken.
Huh?
Acid scar, if I'm not mistaken. What's that?
No.
Yeah, my bad, yeah. Yeah, more than one, actually.
I mean, there's a fair amount of scarring among the Talentar, so this doesn't she is aware of it, but it's not striking her as anything that's, crazy out there, just because it is, there is some level of ritual scarification among her people. So, while yours clearly on ritual scars, it's not like scars are gonna really jolt her a bit.
You get willies or anything?
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
I said it's not going to give you the willies or anything.
Oh no, definitely not. And she's also otherwise unaffected by the fact she's shirtless, just because her taste is very specific. So she just leaves you to your bath, which you very badly need.
So I will go in there. I told you not to use all the hot water. Jeez, Manetti.
And underneath your elbows, Kravish, you sort of feel a bucket bump into. He's like, "No worries, sir. I've got your remedy right here. Just give me a moment, and I'll swap all this out." And she's this little halfling, young, kind of an older teenager, who you learn is named Isabel, is hard at work keeping this bath situation working out. She left Iona to her privacy, and she did knock a couple times at the beginning to ask if you need anything. You didn't answer, so she left you alone. But yeah, you see her kind of all these. There's like 3 buckets on the ground. They all get swapped out. The bath gets poured into. You see her kind of pull a valve on a side pipe, and it drains a little out the side of the treehouse, and she fills it back up. And I'll say, give me. I don't want to just say perception all the time, but you can smell, Kravish, as you sort of are left to dip yourself in this warm water. You can smell the aroma of these little soap bottles, and one of them smells. I don't know if Iona would have noticed this. I'm guessing she doesn't have a super refined sort of perfume palette. But you do. You definitely do. And the soap smells very soapy, but there's also some perfumes that you can adorn in this water. One's got a kind of a red rosy tulip flowery aroma, and the other has a deep cinnamon and honey smell to it. And yeah, you're definitely toying with those for sure.
Gotta do something to get the funk off. So yeah, I'm probably going to go with the deeper honey cinnamon one.
Yeah, it's you know those delightful little oil little spheres you see when you pour oil into water as it kind of separates instantly in these little tiny droplets. You kind of roil it up and mix it all together, and the scent enters your sinuses. It just opens everything up. If you can feel like someone's jammed a pipe up your nostril, you can draw in so much breath, and you lean back into the water. I'll just say, fortunately, you do not have a nightmare. I don't want to give the impression everyone's getting a nightmare whenever they close their eyes in this game.
Yeah, great. Hygiene is punished.
Actually, you are going to need to make a wisdom save, but don't worry, not for the reason you all think. 19, yeah. You're kind of letting your mind wander safely. You feel pretty you feel a fortitude in your mind that is not rare these days, but it's been some time since you really kind of relaxed. Seems to always coincide whenever you've had a good, hot, steamy bath. But it's definitely causing you to kind of allow yourself to think about things that are going on and sort of organize your mind into what all is on everyone's plate to leading up to this point and what moving forward. You recall, obviously, that you guys have business in town to see the elder, and you've worked out an arrangement with her, and you're looking forward to that. I'll say too that this whole idea of rescuing Maven is you finally got some quiet time to think about what does that mean. And you'll know that she jumped into a dimension that none of you really know what it is, just that a Cambion comes from it. It sounds fiendish, and what would that be like to follow her in there, to get her out? Your mind immediately goes to the means at which you have all sort of decided that you could get there by a use of this rod of planar shift that you once possessed as a party, and were relinquished of it by Prince Victor, who himself was sort of a relic hunter. So the idea of procuring that just sort of crosses your mind, and being that would be the easiest way to travel the plains, or find a different way. It really is up to you. And that's, you kind of wrap your mind around the logistics of that and how would that work. And all of a sudden you just have this washing vision of your mother. She's kind of staring out at the clouds off of your home balcony. sounds like, it seems like dinner is simmering in the background somewhere. And it almost seems like she's leaning off that balcony, looking in your direction. Your father is something else that sort of crosses your mind in this time. Both of them just sort of standing stock still, looking at you. Their expression seems nebulous. Not sure if it's quite exactly unconditional pride or if there's concern across the face. And you feel yourself sort of at a loss for words for once. It's difficult to put into words an emotion you have as complicated as this. And it's all mixed in with the trauma you've endured, the green eyes of a dragon, the heartbreak at someone you care for disappearing into a shrinking portal. The things you've seen, the things you've gained, things you'd wish you could forget, things you'd like to remember forever. What's the, what would you say the prevailing memory you have lingering right now as you also sort of come out of this steamy, hazy, almost unconscious feeling?
Probably that last kiss that Maven gave me, and before she lunged into the portal. That also, the memory of reading her letter for the first time.
Her lips always seemed warm when they pressed against your dragon-like beak. You hadn't really kissed that many humanoids in your time, but a fair share, at least nothing that carried any real value to it. The frequent bar wench making out over another swig of whiskey was definitely something you surmise at in your past, but Maven was different. You can feel the warmth sort of spread across your cold scales, and you always kind of had this unfamiliar nervousness when sort of moving in to kiss her. And you could feel an equal sort of anxiousness as she approached, given her stoic and earthbound sort of demeanor she always carried herself with. There was a quiver in her breath, and you do feel a warmth sort of spread starting from your mouth down the whole of your body, and you give kind of a mini shiver at realizing its true absence as you come to, and the water begins to kind of become tepid and sort of hollow, feeling how you do now. But there's just a tinge of warmth clinging to the water, and that adds to this silver lining of hope that you have, that if you work hard and do what you need to do, you will see her again. You just know it.
With that bittersweet feeling of hope, I'll go ahead and get out of the bath and start drying myself off.
Iona, you find yourself settling into a corner of the communal room. Everybody else also seems to be sort of pulling things out of their pack and still kind of adjusting things. You see Koza graciously accepts Baranor's offer to take his bed and kind of push him together so that he's got a bit of a kind of a square to spread out a little more on. Baranor has no problem dog piling on the floor next to the fireplace with Luna and her two cubs. And Iona, yeah, you're kind of like there. You choose in true emo grimdark fashion. You choose the most shadowy corner of the room you can find, away from the moonlight that pierces through the windows as it rises in the evening. And it seems very perfectly comfortable for you. You can see out the window. As a dark elf, you have dark vision, so you're able to kind of watch the nightlife in the trees around you, the tree branches, as woodland nocturnal animals, owls and rodents and raccoons and possums sort of pepper the branches that you can see in the distance for up to 60 feet. Reaper, you kind of find yourself in the under the brightest lit by moonlight window, and you've already unpacked. You're very quick. You live quite light, and you don't have. You kind of see Kravish's rack, which is like maybe 3 or 4 away from you. His bed. You see like 7 outfits like laid out that he didn't. He's still in the bathroom, or he's still in the. He's coming back from the cabin, and he's got these. I mean, some of them are silvery, some of them are iridescent, some of them are multicolored. You know, one of them almost looks like a jester's kind of garb with little like patchwork diamond multicolors all over it. And you look at your bed and you've got like a roll of socks, a toothbrush, and that's kind of it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And suddenly, as you kind of like look around the room and take it in, being a part of this group, you kind of feel like, okay, this is who I have to travel with for a little while, and you start to like kind of chuckle a little to yourself, not as visibly as you could. The quirks, and you see the large furbolg. He's like a huge, almost purple bear, like deer-faced creature. And him and this half-elf ranger are pushing these beds together, and he's laying down on it. And you see him like spread out a little, and his arms, the tips of his arms, and from his calves down, they still spill over the edges. But just as you have kind of a chuckle to yourself at the silliness of it, you feel this terrible scratching pain in the back of your neck, and you almost feel like someone's grasping your hair from the back of your head and yanking your head back really hard, almost enough to where it kind of jostles your jaw, and you almost kind of click your teeth together, and you feel this heat on the back of your skull, and you hear this rasping, very deep and old voice. You have killed. Where is my tribute?
She'll reach into her pouch and pull out the soul coin and hold it up. She didn't say anything, just the action.
Yeah, you pull this. Would you say it's about the size like a $50? It's not huge. It's not a large.
Yeah.
It's not a medallion. It's a coin, but it's thick. It's probably maybe an eighth of an inch thick for a coin. That's pretty hefty, and it's heavy. It's kind of like a dirty, brassy bronze. Like it's got a very heavy black patina across it. And it has this infernal script all over it. There's no face or tails. It just has this weird, winding, spiraling script from the edge to the center that you actually can't read. Never could read it, but you imagine it doesn't say anything nice, and you kind of hold it in your palm, and you take 2 points of fire damage as it heats up almost to the point where you're going to drop it, but you know you can't. And as you open your hand to kind of maybe dip it under the water, it quickly flash boils like a handful of the water at the bottom of your palm, and then it cools, and it's a little cleaner, and it's a little lighter. And that pain remains, but the sensation of heat subsides. There is no voice in your head. There is no response. You get this very dismissive feeling from whatever entity was in your head. Disregard, a disrespect, and a disavow, as it kind of starts to become fuzzy in your head again. And you find yourself again sort of staring out at the moon that you can kind of see through the trees. The canopy's it's just one big tree that you're in, so the canopy's, a little spread out.
She just tries to remember why she's putting up with all this shit. And then like a steely determination just comes over her countenance, and she finishes up and gets out.
Corey, did you say something, bud?
I was like, ain't we a crew?
I mean, anybody with real high passive wisdom can see that Reaper was, for the past 10 minutes maybe, just staring out at this window. She's sort of sitting on her bed. Your very pale hair is sort of tangled at the bottom, and you find yourself just naturally sort of with your fingers sort of working the knots out of the bottom of your hair, creating an ungodly amount of split ends, to be sure. You find yourself sitting sort of on your bed, kicking back, one knee up, your back against the back wall, and you've got kind of one or two of the books that you've acquired over this time. And you also find yourself sort of, for a moment, you're able to, you prestidigitate yourself completely squeaky clean. You give yourself a hour-long kind of perfumey aroma. It's very pleasing, very simple, very easy, very wizard. And you kind of find your mind also wandering over the strategy of what's this all about. And you start at the beginning. You're here to acquire a result, and what you know right now is that this cult has taken over the needle. There are dozens and dozens, perhaps 100 or hundreds of undead that permeate the little village surrounding the needle. You've got a couple of baddies to deal with if you want to really weaken this cult's ability to defend itself. And it's got a leader at the top that seems to have pretty powerful magic. That's when you kind of think of what is this all for, and you have a thought of Victor just kind of leering down at you, veiled by a shade to where only his eyes really kind of are visible. And you hear kind of a cackling in the back of your head. You can hear his voice. Little wizard, little adventurer. And you can see him palming this rod that you yourself found. You found this in the bowels of Dias Mordrin in his vault room. It had maybe 6, 7, maybe more little attunement rods embedded in little brackets along its neck with a central kind of sort of a forked prong that you can slip one in to use this device. You never got to use it yourself, and you don't exactly recall, because I don't think you have an observant feat or anything where you have like perfect memory, do you, Ken?
No.
Yeah. You definitely recognized one that was hot to the touch, one that was very wet, but there was a bunch of them, and you're not exactly sure what the rest were, and definitely don't know for sure what they did. So where does Yuno's imagination take him as far as working out strategy on what level in this little time that you're kind of to yourself as you read your book? Because you can multitask.
I know. Yuno's going to just be thinking about like what spells he has, what's going to come in handy, especially fighting like undead, higher, level kind of magic-y type people. Like what are we going to need kind of big picture wise?
Yeah. You take a moment to analyze your encounters with them thus far. A area of effect, active kind of situation like Spirit Guardians seemed to really be effective against, waves of very low hit-pointed undead creatures. So you've also had great success with just throwing fireballs one after another to just envelop a large space. It seems like targeting him. I'll say that targeting these creatures individually is not a great idea. It's just a waste of potential, potential adaptations. And you also know that there are other powerful creatures in the area. You'll remember that there are winged beasts, some kind of undead draconic creature, or creatures as it's been purported. So they're aerial, they're probably fast, and what to do about things that attack in 3 dimensions instead of just on the ground. So area of effect you definitely have had success with. You also know that they're relentless, and taking damage is definitely not a good idea when surrounded by multiple creatures. So you also have the thought of, people aren't likely to go down in this party, but if they do we have the means to revive somebody, beyond just our magical artifacts? There are material components that are a part of this, so it might not be a bad idea to brush up on everyone's supplies and things. And yeah, you do find yourself kind of strategizing with what you know and what how you need to approach the future and what that might entail. Koza, you definitely feel like taking a bath won't work for you. You could maybe get your legs bathed and then maybe dip your torso into it, but sorry, but a large furbolg fuzzy bear is not fitting in that tub.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Go ahead and make a nature check for me.
I'm real good at those.
Yeah, I hope so.
Come on. Why did it roll that with advantage?
I don't know, but it almost
Well, it doesn't matter. I rolled the same anyway.
Yeah. So, Koza did pretty okay during the fight with the Tarask, right? I don't think he got too badly banged up.
I didn't get too hurt, but I did take some damage.
Yeah. It wasn't the pain you endured that sticks with you right now. It is frankly, you kind of miss your daughter, obviously, right now. The thoughts of Neela traverse your mind as you kind of, after slapping Baranor on the back for helping you to be a little more comfortable in this space, you sort of have your head sort of perched on your pillow and crooked up as you look at the fire pit at your feet, the area, the waves of the light, the dim glow of the flames sort of wave over your face, and you kind of find yourself zoning out a little bit. Definitely looking forward to some food, but you also have a fatigue that washes over you. And Neela's smiling face, thankfully, is the next thing you see in your mind's eye. You communicate through the tree beneath you, through the branches, to the roots, to the earth, and racing through the root systems of the Garden of Mist up to Stonehelm Keep, where you feel yourself sort of, you can kind of see her almost, at least in your heart. She seems happy. You're not sure if you're really seeing her or if you're just imagining that you are, but she seems happy in this vision you're having. Sort of gathering up things and materials. It's smoky and foggy to make out details. Walking from one room to another, not too quickly like she's on some hurried schedule, but at her own pace. Seems vaguely content. Unsure of the future in a look or two, but generally kind of peaceful.
Well, that's good. That makes me feel reassured that things are going to be okay.
Yeah, it affords you time to dwell on the things that are before you now. You take a moment to enjoy a peaceful vision of your daughter, and quickly your mind rests on what's before you. The walking rot. Something of a nemesis to you. Never fully understanding the scope of the damage that has been done to you until you have moments like this. The pleasant image of your daughter flashes quickly to the jagged, shredded vision of your husband. It's unpleasant, but fortunately brief. It flashes gray with a wash of fog You find your mind racing over the treetops of the Garden of Mist, resting on kind of a rotating drone shot of the needle at the midst of the forest. And at its peak, a balcony that kind of winds around the top of this tapered, narrow wooden structure. And just a kind of a permeating green mist, almost coalescing into slow bolts of lightning energy that just faintly dance across this balcony and out of it. You know something is there. Something that is powerful and just down and evil and potent. And you feel yourself shudder and long for the warmth you felt while having happy thoughts. Is when your kind of stomach rumbles and gurgles, and you can feel spaces being opened by the hunger pangs you're experiencing. And once again, the wafting smell of a very savory aroma from the doorway leading to the tavern downstairs kind of envelops you.
All right, so probably about that time I finally get back in from the room, like, oh, that was much needed. Oh.
You see Azia doing her normal thing, kneeling before her giant statue of a golden cat. She's on the floor in front of her bunk. Looks like most of her things are laid out around her. Maybe she's not taking her bunk either.
Okay. So I'll go
Everyone's-
over to where my bed is, and I'll just start looking over all the different clothes and such. Are we meeting with the elders tonight, or are we doing?
Well, it is, like I said, it's about, at this point, it's about dinner time. 6:30. And, you mean, Azia kind of looks around to see if anybody else has a preference for going after supper or the morning. I will follow your lead. Matters not when we visit this elder.
We just come back.
No.
When we come back.
She just charged you with this task and you set off. There was really no details on who to report to and when. She just promised use of her archers if you killed this thing.
Gotcha. Well, why don't we go send a message over to the town hall just to, catch her in her pajamas.
Sure. Send a message saying what?
That we have successfully returned and will come by your office after supper this evening.
Okay. Yeah, you get a message back, kind of like a do not reply email. Like we our offices are closed at the moment. We will reopen tomorrow at early morning.
A little person comes back. Okay, cool. Thanks. All right then. Well, I guess we got the free evening then, gents. Like, we'll get something to eat.
The
Y'all are
bottom,
just content to stay up here brooding.
I mean, Azia is going to rise slowly from her seated position, and she's going to kind of drop her outer robes, and you see those sort of off-white silken inner robes that she kind of fastens a little rope in front of her and tightens it and pulls her hood down, and she's got this mane of almost a mohawk of black braided hair with gold rings and such that sort of dangles topples down her small of her back. She gives her head a little shake and kind of puts two of her claws, her cat claws together, and sharpens a little and says, "I could use with a little bit of ale. Show me the way, Dragonborn."
I love her.
All right, I'll put on a relatively modest but presentable traveler's outfit.
Uh-huh.
And we'll be on our way.
Okay. Does everybody else follow? Is anybody going to kind of post up in the upstairs? Sounds like Reaper might be into it.
All right.
So yeah,
We'll go downstairs.
the bottom two floors of this establishment are comprise the tavern. Like I said, there's about what I say, 15 maybe tables, maybe fewer. Fit 3 or 4 people. You guys post up on a bench at the, or a kind of a wide picnic bench at the back, and everybody just kind of follows you with their eyes as you kind of make your way down. Karish, you instantly clock that there is a kind of this plump, brown-haired gnome sat on a kind of a stool, and she's got long curly brown hair tied up in a handkerchief at the back, babushka style, and she is over at this it's not a stage, but it's like another picnic table that she's kind of standing on, and she is pulling a bow along a fiddle. She's wearing kind of a long plaid, red and white plaid apron over a earth tone brown and white dress underneath, and she has these large clog-like wooden shoes that she's kind of tapping on the table and creating kind of a percussive rhythm as she draws this quick, tight little ditty on this fiddle with this little tiny bowstring. And occasionally she she's leaning into this instrument, and occasionally she kind of takes the edge of her bow and taps a tankard, and it makes kind of a sort of a splash cymbal sound. And she's kind of got there's a couple of halfling couples. There's what looks like an elf leaning on the arms of a strapping man, human, and they're all kind of like they're doing a little kind of like an Irish dance almost, and tapping their toes on the ground. And the barkeep, this bald black-haired dwarf, he kind of slides around from the front counter where he was helping somebody with a set of keys, and he kind of whips over to you, and he's like, "Oh, welcome, adventuring masters. What can I get you to wet the whistle?"
All right. I'll, we'll take our ale orders.
All right. If you'll find your seats, I'll have it brought over promptly. And kind of spinning around and viewing the room, you kind of find yourself meeting up eyes with a couple of, you're not sure if they're halflings or dwarves. They're definitely not gnomes, but they're wide, whatever they are. And they're kind of straddling a 3-man. There's 2 of them. They're straddling a 3-man table, and their eyes are a little heavy. And Kravish, you're the first one that kind of meets eyes with them. And they're not leaning one way or another, but they're definitely slightly wobbling. And you hear one of them just sort of like through his gray puff of facial hair. There's no distinction between, his mustache and a beard. You just hear him kind of hiccup. What are you looking at?
What am I looking at? Okay. Oh, just.
Yeah,
you 3 fellas. Just looking at 3 fellas having a good time.
What's that supposed to mean? And you see his friend, who seems a little more sober. He just kind of rolls his eyes and says, "All right, Frederick, no need to start something with an entire group of foreign adventure-looking types. Forgive my brother. He gets a hot head when he gets the drink in him."
I'll just kind of give a little courtesy nod. No problem.
And the first, he's like I said, they got kind of a gray, bushy beard, and he's just the first one sort of tosses back a tankard, and almost half of it drains down his beard and drips on the table in front of him. And he says, "Come on over here. Let's hear what foreign adventurers have been up to and what they're doing in town." And you see him kind of snap his fingers to no one. He doesn't get anybody's attention at all. He's like, "Round on me! Come on, you lot!" And Koza, you see what this very round, very small man just sort of toddle over to you, and he shoves a tankard right in your hand. And he's like, "How about you, big fella?"
I'll just take a drink from him and, do a cheers and just take a big old swig.
Yeah.
As a drunkard.
You see him kind of watch you, and when he looks up at you, he looks all the way up at you. I mean, he is directly under your chin, and just watches you dump down this tankard, which to you is like holding a Dixie cup full of water. I mean, you just instantly toss it back, and he's like, "Well, finally, someone who can handle their liquor. Let's say we see how deep that rabbit hole goes." And you see him actually catch the eye of a barmaid who brings over a tray, and he says, "Give us a lot of the brown stuff, lassie. I feel a contender in the air. What you say, big fella?" And you see him slap 2 gold coins on the table. "First one to fall down loses."
Very well, I'll take that bet.
So while they're all getting set up, I'm going to start milling through the crowd and start chatting with people and trying to get a betting pool going.
Okay, make a persuasion check. Make it an advantage. I feel like you're good at this.
Can I help him?
Yeah, definitely. Reaper, you kind of see some action brewing in the center of this tavern, and you all do see a very toddling over, in drips and drabs crowd of people, at least turning in their seats to watch this boisterous dwarf halfling person just barking insanely, jumping up and down on his feet, barking at this huge Fearbulg, which, by the way, Koza, you are the biggest person in this room. There's not a single person in this whole tavern that is taller than you or wider than you. So you kind of like nestle down on a chair, which is kind of like you feel like you're kneeling on like a little kiddie stool, and this waitress brings over this wide pizza tray, little thing of little glasses with this brown liquid in it. So what I would like to do is whatever your con is, your con modifier plus 8, subtract that from a d20, and that'll be kind of your threshold, your DC, as we could
8?
say. 8 plus your con modifier. What would that be?
9.
9. All right. So for right now, so minus 20 would be 11. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So at each time you drink, I'm going to have you roll a d20. You just have to beat 11.
Okay, can I also say Iona is doing something also, because she's never been in this situation before, like ever. She's probably vaguely aware that such situations could exist, but now she's right in the middle of one. She doesn't know what she can do, but she knows what her brother potentially would have done, so she's going to go up to the fiddler and request a change of song.
Okay.
And
You wounded me.
I didn't catch that, but
I said, "You wound me. I'm a bard."
yeah, sorry, I did, but there's a woman already playing. It would be, I can ask her to stop so that you can play, but I don't know if I'm persuasive enough for that.
Oh, well, while I'm milling around and such, I'm going to start, I'll just start subtly playing just to try to help drum up attention.
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, Iona is going to give you a song suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, so it's like probably something that you would have heard because it's gone around taverns, but you would be quite surprised that Iona would know it, or at least be aware enough of it to care enough to say that it would be a decent thing to play, because it's basically just one of those songs where it's like a list with a theme that gets repeated, which is just like what people from like different places in the world and different cultures would do to get laid. And it's like that on a theme.
Okay, so a little ribaldry. Yeah, my eyebrow will arch, and I'm like, okay, I'm impressed that you know that, and slightly concerned.
Kervish plays his best Backstreet Boys that he can muster.
Yeah, you are my fire.
Yeah. to forgive the parlance of penny dropping music. Yeah, Iona, you kind of find yourself, like everybody else here, milling through the crowd. You're keeping to yourself as best you can, but you find yourself sort of wanting to at least share looks with people for longer than a split second. It feels very warm here. It feels very inviting, as much as you could imagine something could be. The food smells great. The ale smells refreshing, crisp, and the gnome up on the table, which Kervish kind of wanders over and starts matching her melody, to which she gives you kind of like a respectful and appreciative nod as she continues, and maybe ups the tempo on her fiddle a little bit. Switches it all up to a sort of a contemporary and newer style sounding song that kind of feels inviting to the young and enticing to the heart. And almost a dueling set of tunes from Kervish and this gnome, of a feminine sound eluding a pursuant suitor, and Kervish, your swashbuckling mandolin playing, kind of undertoning her bashfulness as a young man would kind of pursue a young woman. And while this is all going on, Koza, you down this tankard of brown ale. It is wicked strong and not more than a little syrupy in its consistency. But you slurp it down, it burns the back of your throat and warms your belly, and you slam down your empty tankard, and it is replaced instantly with another. I am going to have the fella that you drink with, he is also going to toss one back. I'll roll for him. So yeah, I need, you got an 11. That's what you need to roll over. So go ahead and give me just a straight D20, and let's see where it lands. All right. What is that plus your con? I guess I should say it's a con check.
That's an 8.
Okay, so it hits the back of your throat hard, and you almost sort of spit it out. You weren't expecting it to be that strong, but it is. And this little chubby fella across the table, he just sort of throws his head back, and you just see a mouth full of like every other tooth, and he just like. Oh, big man, perhaps he can hold it as well as I thought. And he chugs one back, and yeah, he gets a 17. So he blows by his little threshold easily. He even takes another tankard and tosses one back right in a row. So now I'm going to say that after doing one, you failed. Your threshold jumps up by 2. So you need to keep.
I see him tank this first one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come on over to him, and I can't do Constitution for enhance ability. That stinks.
Aw. Can anyone give him luck?
Can I guide
I have
myself?
an idea something which might count as a help action. I don't know, but I'm gonna take one of my poison balls and just uncork it and just like wave it under his nose a bit to sort of sober him up a little, and then I'm gonna put the cork back in and then put it in my.
Am I too drunk to guidance myself?
You're not drunk. No. I'll say this: that drink, it just didn't taste good. But that's it.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna guidance myself.
Yeah. Does that help against saving throws? I think that's just.
No, it's just
I think
ability
it's
checks.
just.
Never mind.
Yeah, just ability. Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah. So. He pushes another drink in front of you, and now you have to beat a 13. Your threshold went up. You failed.
All right, so just a con check.
Yeah.
Fine.
Oh wait,
Come on.
I did. I can do Constitution.
Aha.
Okay, that's the third time in a row I've rolled a 7.
So I'm going to come over.
I don't know what that means, but I'm noticing it.
Go ahead,
So I'm
Corey.
going to cast Bear's Endurance on him to give him advantage on con checks. And
Yeah.
2d6 temporary hit points.
2d6 temporary hit points. All right. Yeah, go ahead and make that
advantage
roll
on con
again.
checks.
Right on.
Actually, that's the 4th time because the first one was an advantage roll.
Well, don't do it again. I'll say you kind of you draw half of this tankard of ale, of liquid into your mouth, and it tastes just as bad as before. You almost sort of spit it back into your plate, and then into your tankard, and you sink it back once again to
Backwash.
see if you can. Yeah. So go ahead and roll that. You got an 8 there. Let's roll that again.
Please be better.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lord.
All right.
Just getting wasted.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. Damn, he got a 19. All right. So this
Guy, like who is this guy?
I don't know, but you see 2 of them. And then you just realize that it's his very look-alike friend standing next to him, and your eyes kind of straighten, and you realize that you might have taken that back before eating was maybe a mistake, but you've got two shots of this pretty strong liquor on an empty stomach in you. So without any kind of permission or anything, you see a waitress walking by with sort of like a half turkey, and you rip one of the legs right off of it and sink your teeth into it. Yeah, Azia just sort of standing against a nearby post, and looks like she's sort of nursing a tankard of ale, and just watches. You see her kind of like slowly close her eyes, shake her head, and hide a little giggle to herself. Baranor is currently chatting up a fella next to him at the bar a few feet away. You see him sort of pull on a tankard and make observations and pointing back at you at the crowd. As far as he's explaining something, maybe introducing you all. He's talking to. It looks like a sort of a nondescript humanoid, maybe half-elf man with sort of sandy blonde hair, kind of like his, and they're just sort of chatting to each other. And Reaper, you also find yourself nearby at the picnic table, just sort of leaning back on the bench, and watching this unfold before you. There's a rather well-hidden sort of Aragorn in the corner, hooded person sitting at kind of a kitty-quarter angle away from you, and he's got kind of he doesn't have like a crooked nose and scraggly teeth. He's kind of well put together. Just looks like he doesn't want to be totally seen, and he's kind of pulling back on a tankard himself and sort of watching you and watching everything, and you see his eyes sort of look away as you meet his. He's got kind of like a gray cloak, not terribly tattered on the edges. Doesn't look like he trudges through the brush like you guys do. Couple of pair of well-made leather boots, and that's kind of all you can see of him.
Keep an eye on him.
Sure.
He makes it
Easy enough to do. Well, why don't you roll a wisdom save? How uncomfortable does he make you?
Wisdom saving throw. 22.
22. Yeah, if you were the type of person to be attracted to an Aragorn type, you would consider this person quite handsome. And as far as creepy factor, he just seems like a patron who is well-dressed, but trying to look like he's not well-dressed, if that makes any sense. Yeah, and your passive insight is enough to show that he isn't like staring creepily at anybody in particular, just sort of dancing his eyes along the crowd. Doesn't seem like I wouldn't call him shady, just keeping to himself. And occasionally he steals a glance from you and then looks away real quick. And then you can tell he knows you're looking at him. So sometimes he'll steal a glance from you, but not look away right away.
Absolutely no. He's not my type.
He has a soul.
Something like that.
Something like that. All right, Koza. Drink number 3.
All right.
This guy looks like for every drink you take, he takes 2, and he is sober as a bird. I mean, he's not sober as a bird. His eyes.
Secretly a fae or something.
Well, let's see. That would be an Arcana check. I feel like.
Is this Vogel?
If you can roll a nature and an Arcana check at the same time, we'll see what it says. And because I mean, he's a very dense little fellow. So he's already kind of 3 sheets. So you feel like what's another 4 drinks to this guy?
You said Arcana and what else?
Arcana and nature. I feel like that's fair of a fey check.
Well, here's Arcana. Oh, now I start rolling well.
Pretty good. Damn.
Again, now I start rolling well.
16 Arcana, nature of a 19. So your first check will answer the second.
Who is this guy?
He does not feel magical at all. You don't get an essence. You don't get an. You don't get an essence of magic at him. He seems like a very down to earth, a very genuine person who is very drunk and is able to hold his liquor even then against you.
Yes, he is a very human person.
I would say he does not look human. He definitely, you get the feeling at least that he doesn't feel human. Dwarf, halfling, maybe a large, wide gnome.
Well, then he's definitely a dwarf. Or half.
He's going to, wow, I just rolled a natural 19 for his con check. So that's a 23.
Yeah, there's no way this guy's not at least half dwarf.
So go ahead and as you toss back your drink, let's get another. You can do a con check. I guess at advantage this time, right?
Advantage.
Yeah.
Advantage. Con check. There we go. Come on. Oh, come on, man.
Wow.
Wow.
So your last failure bumped up your DC to a 15. So this punch is not sitting well with you, and after 3 of these small shots, it's starting to hit your belly like battery acid, and you kind of feel your cheeks bulge as you sort of hiccup into your own mouth, and but you get it down. Unfortunately, it goes. Your DC goes from a 15 to a 17. Kervish, you can feel yourself sort of feeling for your friend as you're shouting from, doing the best to encourage him and give him a steeled stomach from the stage where you're at. But you also kind of do your best to scan the crowd while you pick at your mandolin with this gnome up on stage. And you kind of... Get a feeling for the energy of these people. I'm not going to say that you gain any technical information about any of these folk, but your lore bard background allows you to kind of get a vibe from a populace, and you definitely find yourself leaning into how to play the crowd. So I'm going to say that whether you've got a cap up on stage or not, I'm going to roll 2d6. And I don't know if you want to collect this as it comes or if you want to gather it at the end, but so far you've got 8 gold worth of coin on stage that people are tossing your way.
All right.
Yeah, you do hear from the crowd, sort of a red-haired, pigtailed, older teenager, maybe 18, 19-year-old sort of halfling female, shout up at you, "Tell us a story, Bard!" And she tosses you a silver.
Tell a story. All right. Well, I'm going to tell you guys a story about a friend of mine. He used to run with us back in the day. Simple fellow of the land. Strong of heart and strong of arm as well. And then I will go into Axton Woodman Bloom, A Man Out of Time.
Yes, they delight in your regalia. And, speaking of his brawn, the reach of his arm, the collection of weapons on his back. And, jeez. Too soon.
Oh, that's cold. That's cold.
Too soon. Who's that, Steph?
Strong arm. He said strong arm, and I was like, done. I have to.
Damn.
Oh, man. Damn. Oh, making fun of his cut off arm. Yeah. His tale, I mean, you've told this tale, what, 6-7 times, I think, at this point in front of a crowd. You're getting pretty good at it. So go ahead and give me a performance check and do it at advantage, seeing as you've told this story before.
19.
Monster roll. The crowd kind of jumping up and down with the rhythm of the upbeat melody that you and this gnome, who you learn her name is Darla,
Okay.
kind of play together back and forth, dueling banjo style, and you sort of take center stage, hop up on a table, and tell of the man frozen in a ball of time, freed by the early crown collectors, and the escapades that ensued thereafter, acquiring more and more members until the party barely resembled its original roster. You mention your own inclusion to the party as one of his companions, and how he took part in the slaying of the great dragon of the East. Well, actually, no, it'd be the West. And how the quiet life appealed to him, and so he pursued his personal interests, sort of a semi-early retirement and a desire to sharpen his skills with training, and how you wished him well in his endeavors, and when you return home you hope to find him sharpening his swords and spears. That was pretty good. I'm going to say that there is another 15 gold worth of coins tossed to the stage, and a rose, which you summarily catch in your mouth. Oh, we lost Steph.
Oh.
Well, that's okay, because it's Koza's turn. Koza, another tankard of brown ale is slapped in front of you.
I'm gonna start
And
taking fucking poison damage soon.
And you kind of regard this, and you see that sort of dwarven fella, kind of like he's giving you that Jack Nicholson wide-eyed nod, like, go ahead.
Oh God, here we go. Or wait.
Oh my God!
No fucking way that just happened.
You just rolled double ones on a
feel
con
like
save.
it warrants me passing out.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
straight out of a horror movie.
I'm taking a picture of that shit.
Double ones. Snake eyes on a drinking check. This is like 4 shots of liquor to you, by the way. So I got to do something with this. So I'm gonna do a retroactive kind of a lore drop for you. It turns out that Koza is allergic to barley. That is canon right now.
Oh my god.
So you grab a.
I can't eat,
Go ahead.
can't eat that stew. I'm allergic to barley.
Is
Yeah,
lesser restoration gonna help in this situation, or is he just gonna have to sleep it off?
Lady, it can't hurt. unless your spells are unless you're using a barley leaf as a spell focus, I don't think it's gonna hurt. But your temporary hit points are gone, and you realize as this last shot hits your stomach, oh wait, that's why this tastes familiar. It tastes like a deep. It almost tastes like Marmite that uses the leftover from brewing beer, and you feel that heavy beer taste at the back of your mouth, and you're like, that's why I drink ale. I don't drink this hard brown liquor because it doesn't agree with me. And you all notice that Koza's kind of light violet purpley fur in his face, it takes on kind of a gray-green shade. And Koza, you can feel a gurgle in your stomach that wasn't there before, as if you'd eaten bad fish.
I'm gonna make my way outside.
Yeah, you kind of teeter and you totter, and you look at that dwarf dead in his face, and he's quite drunk. He finishes hit. Let's just roll for him. What the hell?
I give him a look of, you did this to me.
Yeah, your eyes, glassy and sweating, turn beet red for a moment as your anger at his involvement of you takes hold, and you rear back, your cheeks fill, his eyes widen, and you puke all over his face.
Yes.
A river, an ocean.
No one is missing
A torrent of brown, foamy liquid torrential pours out of your mouth, coating his entire head. It's very reminiscent of Kravish coming out of the Tarask's stomach, and just coats him in this brown, slimy, bubbly brew. The crowd erupts. Everyone lifts you up and then drops you immediately, realizing how heavy you are, and you just you belch loudly into the air and back up a couple steps and fall dead on your back, out cold.
Jesus.
The man, now covered in a brown sludge, just kind of lifts his tankard in the air, tips it over and dumps it, and raises it again and says, "I'll take another!" The crowd cheers in elation at this strange but raucous and roiling behavior. you all eat turkey legs and potatoes and roasted peppers and vegetables in a stew, dipping in with bread and buns and raising glasses of ale, and eventually, Kurvish, you kind of notice Koza being sort of like sat up and the life slapped back into his cheeks as they shove another tankard of just pale ale this time, and continue with the night's raucousness well into the later hours of the evening. One by one, you all feel the tug of fatigue at your back. Your necks become creaky. The laughter parches your throat and raspies your voice. And you find yourselves ready to settle into your beds after a raucous night of celebration, as this night's frivolity and revelry comes to an end. Is there anything anybody would like to do before toddling to your room or after you get there? Why don't we just start in order of the Discord? We'll say, Kravish, as you play your last song, or before you play your last song, is there anything Kravish does to cap the evening?
Cap the evening? Well, let's see if we can, give a couple of silver to two strapping folks to help us haul Koza's unconscious ass up to his room.
It's going to take more than two, but sure.
Well, I mean, we got us too, but
yeah, it's going to take every bit of you.
yeah. So, seeing if we can get a couple of folks who, for like about, 2-3 silver, willing to help us a piece, help us haul his fat ass up.
He's not fat. It's all
I'm
this
not
fur.
fat. I'm fluffy.
You're big boned, right? Okay, his big boned ass.
Well, no, I have normal bones. I'm just fluffy.
Kind of fur that your hand disappears into. All right, Iona, as the party finds a way to help the large Firbolg to his feet and to his bed, what does the Talentar priestess do with her evening's end?
Yeah, I'm trying to think over actually what she does with her evenings end in terms of how uncomfortable she is as a result of this invasion from her and how she reacts to that. So I'm going to ask for a little context here actually. So,
Sure.
Context number one, Baranor and the guy he was maybe flirting with earlier. Did anything happen there?
Yeah, they're gone.
Okay, they're gone. Yeah,
He's not in the tavern anymore, and neither is that dude.
Oh, he's gone. Okay, right.
Telling him right now.
Okay, and then with a 20 passive perception, Aragorn guy in the corner eyeing up Reaper. Did she notice with a passive of 20? Okay.
Yeah. She definitely noticed him. They clocked each other.
Okay, so in that case, it's time for Iona's incredibly specific thing to come out. So is there anyone in the cabin who is either a twink that looks well-dressed but not overdressed and also looks highly educated, or B, a woman built like a brick shithouse who looks like she's good at taking orders?
Yeah, actually, you do see what looks like a half-orc female who is wearing a sort of a Shrek-like outfit where it's sort of an off-white, heavy threaded linen undershirt with a sort of an animal hide vest strapped across it. She has a tall center braid, thick center braid of hair. It looks a little like a Zia's mohawk, except it's just a thick wrap of black hair that sort of goes down the middle between her her ears and just sort of splits into three or four tendrils that topple over her shoulders. She has two very large tusks that crown her bottom lip. They jut out forward quite a bit, almost fully facing forward. Very, very orc-like. She's got very heavy orc blood. To speak of that, she has dark green skin. She has a tiny, sharp, upturned nose and two autumn yellow leaf irised eyes. Very, very almost glowing golden eyes. And she's got, short sleeves, so you can see she's got some veiny muscles. Her biceps are getting in the way of her duties, but she is carrying two large crates, one on top of each other, setting it down in the corner, and she grabs a broom and brushes the pathway she just came from. Looks like a dusting of leaves followed her from some outside door. She cracks open a crate. You see her pulling bottles out of it.
Okay, in that case, Iona is going to go up to her and literally pretty much just state exactly what she wants. And yeah, that is how Iona.
Is that how Iona gets down?
Yeah. Except
Okay.
it's even worse if her brother's in the vicinity.
Well, I'm going to need a persuasion check for sure. As she's in the middle of her barkeep shift, and you just kind of walk up and make your intentions well known.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad, Steph. That's pretty much dead on, just not so adventure-y like.
They don't have, in a tavern, I don't think.
All right, she's going to definitely roll insight. My goodness, the unmitigated gall, Iona. Oh boy, and she's gonna roll great. So with a 6. Yeah, she is a little confused by your approach. She's gonna kind of look down at you. She is easily 2 feet taller than you are, and she just kind of looks. You got a 15. That's not bad, but you're awkward and introverted, and a 15 for you is monumental, but it's more like an 8 for like a Kravish. And so you kind of you don't wait long enough before you start talking. You start talking around 10 feet away, and it's a kind of a noisy bar. So she kind of looks up at you halfway through your proposal and is like, I'm sorry, what? What was that you said, lassie?
Okay, so is it that she hasn't heard me well enough to get it, or?
Well, yeah, because like I said, you're awkward. So you started talking to her before you could close the distance to have a private conversation. So she didn't hear you the first thing you said. She kind of heard the last of it where you're and that's what I want. She's like, oh, what's it that you want? Sorry, I didn't hear you. And she kind of puffs some air over her tusk and flips a bit of her hair out of her eye, and it just kind of leans in unexpectedly, what's that you need? Totally missing your intention.
Yeah,
and
I just again calmly state.
Yeah, hold on one second, Kravish. You wanted to see if you clocked it.
Yeah, if I saw her trying to make this interaction.
You're gonna have to make a perception check at disadvantage because she's trying to be private about it. You passively noticed her wander in the corner in the direction of this working half orc.
15.
15. I mean, you can see her talking to her. That's about it. That's about all you get.
Okay.
Iona, yeah, she didn't quite get it. You kind of fumbled that one a little bit.
Oh, okay. I mean, if she didn't hear me, then I'm just again going to state clearly and calmly exactly what I want. Yeah.
Well, do you want to keep that 15 against one of her rolls, or do you want to try again?
I'll keep the 15 because she's not very charismatic and she's literally just doing pretty much exactly what she did before. But yeah.
All right. I'm going to have her
Also, I'm not
roll
gonna say,
again.
I deliberately not used guidance because, she doesn't believe in using guidance for this sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, let's have her roll again. Same roll again. Let's see how well. Oh, she does better there. She did much better there. Her green skin, she kind of like, she hears you this time. Her eyes widen. She looks like she puts down the bottle she's holding, and you see her lips sort of stiffen a little and curl at the edges as she backs up a half a step, lowers her chin. You see the skin on her cheeks blush from green to pink. She bats her eyes a little and gives kind of a shallow giggle and looks around almost like, are you talking to me? And she kind of picks the bottle up again. She says, my goodness, it's I don't even know your name. What is your name?
I tell her my name, and that's, Then I ask for hers, because reciprocation, but, this is not, I'm not looking for a super emotional thing, really.
She just kind of whispers Stella back at you and says, and she kind of gives you a look up and down, and you see her kind of look out the front door and says, I'd love to share an ale with you if you're inclined. Seeing the inside of a bedchamber without first knowing anything about you, I'm not that kind of girl, Iona.
Okay, right. I wonder how she'd respond to that. Yeah. Okay. Well, she's not in that kind of mood, so I'm going to respectfully say that I'm not in that kind of mood. I nod and I move along.
Okay. She kind of looks mildly shocked, a little disappointed, and goes back to stocking wine bottles like she was before.
Believe it or not, this situation was even worse back when Iona's brother was still alive. However bad you think this is, there's a worse version of it, which no one's seeing.
Yeah. It's in that moment that you briskly walk away, sort of a little disappointed yourself, both in the result and putting yourself out there and not getting rejected. It's just not going according to your plan. You feel kind of a teenage disappointment and rejection, and a little anxious and nervousness sort of pop like a balloon, and a quiet frustration and a little bit of sexual tension sort of billow up in the hackles of your neck. And you just sort of toddle away embarrassingly, trying to make yourself look as invisible as possible, to the point where you click your heels and you cover yourself in a shroud of smoke as you disappear out the door. Everyone just sort of looks around like, what was that? And you do your best to become a shadow in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I return to the room.
You what? Sorry, I didn't hear that part.
I return to our shed room.
Yeah. The pillar of smoke that you encompass doesn't drop until you find yourself at the foot of your bed in not the foot, but the head as far received into the shade as you can. You drop that effect and just find yourself staring down at your boots for 5 or 6 seconds. You realize that you passed over Koza snoring quite loudly in his bed. You also see Luna and the pups near where Baranor was posted up before, curled up in little balls and kind of dogpiling each other. And you also see Azia. She is very, 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 very sneaky and cat-like, obviously. And you kind of notice her shift and sway as she's stirring something in a small boiling pot, kind of this little brass pot over a bracketed flame. And she's mixing something and pouring it into little vials and corking them and kind of laying them in a little row. And you hear her from across the room. Iona, interesting trick you do with the smoke. You seem burdened, my child. What is it that casts you out of the social gathering such as this?
I'm finished with what I was going to do down there.
And what would that have been? Congregating with the locals, perhaps, and you do feel her sort of surface dwelling on your thoughts magically.
All right, so am I able to sort of passively or even actively rolling for me to figure out if she knows exactly why I lost back up here, or
well, she's not going that deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's not going that deep. She gets the surface level emotional thoughts. She gets a longing from you, but not a familial longing, a seeking attention from a stranger kind of a feeling. And she also gets the feeling of a barrier that you failed to pierce, and she feels disappointment and frustration. She's getting that from you. And she's not pressing for thoughts. She's not pressing for concepts or ideas or real complex emotions. And you see her saunter over, and she's stripped those robes away, and she has a very sheer inner kind of almost a nightgown on, and her bare shoulders are sort of swinging as she not swinging, but bobbing up and down as she saunters over to you. She's got a couple of these vials in her hand, and she sort of slides one of them onto the little desk next to your temporary dresser, and she says, "I'm brewing a little specialty. Might help you sleep, might help an enemy sleep. Up to you. Your choice. Let it quiet your mind or still the enemy's attention. Just know that these people around you that you ingratiate yourself with, I sense a distrustful nature. I've sensed it since I first met you. I do not get a feeling from these people that they mean you harm or me. And I'm very good at judging these kinds of things. You would do well to allow yourself to trust someone. I understand that may be difficult for you. I understand, believe me. In my youth, I was distrustful of those outside my tribe. But I learned, and I trusted. You get your heart broken, but you also meet the loves of your life. Not that they will be the love of your life, but they may be friends. Do not so quickly discount them." And she just kind of, you notice her long, curling, cheetah-like tail currently wrapped around your calf just for a moment before she slips it free. And she turns, and before she goes back to her corner, she whispers over her shoulder, "I know you hide your religion out of fear what others will think of you. I know you hid it from me. I do not judge. I do not pass judgment on another's religion. We all have our path, and we must follow it as we may." And she just kind of blows you a little kiss goodnight and disappears into the darkness of her nook.
I mean, what I was kind of aiming for was the evening was to sort of spend some time thinking about something that is not my problem. And as much as a viola, what I'm guessing is a potion of sleep would do that, that is not my preferred way of feeling nothing. So, I've not got the... I'd chosen a method for the night to feel nothing. It's not worked out, so I guess I'm just gonna have to sort of feel something. So instead, I'm gonna take the vial. I'm gonna slip it in with my other vials. I'm just trying to decide if I'm gonna do some brewing or if I'm gonna go straight into reverie. I might reverie first and then make some poisons later.
Yeah. The hours grow late. The air grows cool and cold and crisp through the windows. There's no glass in the windows, but being this packed into the density of this tree, it looks like it holds on to some semblance of heat. So it's not cold in your room, but you do feel the crisp air just outside your window. The tavern downstairs grows slightly quieter as you sit and contemplate. About this time that Kravish, you kind of make your way in, thanking the crowd for their patronage and their coin, really. And let's have another round of what you were able to acquire. Mm-hmm. You got another 8 gold worth of coin on your way out.
Nice.
You also got the equivalent of like 3 or 4 people there, two ladies and a young male who seemed to give you the equivalent of their phone number to hit them up later. They seemed on the young side, not teens, but definitely early to mid 20s, having a good time themselves and very impressed with your regalia of your stories and your musical talent.
So I'm coming up. I hear all the snoring going on here. I'm like, okay, well, it looks like the party ended up here early. I look at everybody. Everybody's sawing logs, and Iona, she's in her trance. Am I correct in that?
Is that what you mean by reverie there, Iona? You're in a trance, right?
Yeah, I'm in my trance.
Yeah, she's cloaked in shadow. She's kind of hard to see.
Okay. So I'll just grab like a little, note card or something, and I'll just write a quick note that I'm in the other room.
All right.
I'll just go to the private room and I'll rack out over there.
Okay. Reaper, you and Yuno kind of find yourselves kind of meeting at the hallway that leads up to your room. He kind of, you see him skip up the steps. You had a pretty good time letting your hair down, not too ingratiating, not too deeply with the local flora and fauna, but you got a little tipsy and found yourself enjoying the food and beverage. Not a whole lot of people here to converse with on a terribly intellectual basis. It's a very simple folk with simple interests and politics. With your passive perception, unfortunately, you don't hear about any ancient burial sites that with maybe some treasure to plunder, but it definitely leaves you time to think about the things you were thinking about earlier. So Reaper, I think Baranor beats you and up. You see him settle on the floor, crisscross applesauce, sort of tucking away his knives and his daggers. He pulls them out of all his nooks and crannies and lays them out in a line, and he's kind of like a little OCD about their placement, where he kind of like keeps them in a specific order and doesn't want to offend one for putting it at the end or something like that. And you kind of follow him and up the steps to your room. You still feel like at the back of your head this tearing heat, searing heat. It's subsided, but it's almost you're suffering the memory of that feeling. It felt so real, and very invading and violating, a way of barging into your mind uninvited and unannounced. It leaves you frustrated, and no amount of revelry and drinking downstairs subsided that. You didn't think about it for a little while, but here you are again, and it's the only thing really on your mind at this moment.
Awesome.
You do appreciate the moonlight. It has moved. It's not in your window anymore. But as if you kind of lean in the corner of the room and kind of crick your neck, you can still see it. And its pleasing ice blue glow is enough to make your bed feel inviting. And sitting on the edge of it, unlacing your boots, everyone seems to be settling in for the night. And that is where, and I know you wanted to brew potions, Iona, we'll get to that. But that is where we will take a break.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Koza the Lightweight.
All right. Koza the Lightweight. Oh, boy.
Koza can't hear you because he's passed out.
The dice want what the dice want, and what the dice want is double that one.
Yeah.
Not only did I roll 3 7s in a row.
Oh, man.
My dice gave me hope that I was going to roll better for the con saves.
Yeah.
That was the Lord telling you.
And then kicked me in the teeth.
No drinking ever again.
Nope.
Oh, my God. Koza the Lightweight. I can't believe it. Giant furbolg. It's such a contravention of physics that it's funny.
I am a walking oxymoron.
Yeah. Tonight, a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
All right. Well, we will call that 4:05. We'll take 15 minutes, and we'll be back here at 4:20. All right, folks?
Smoke them if you got them.
All righty. Well, we got everybody back. Looks like everyone's at least online, if not muted.
I think we're all here.
Yeah, we can get right back to it. Iona, before tucking in for the night, you gather your brewing materials. What exactly was it you wanted to accomplish tonight?
Well, it depends, because I've got several things. I've got, let me just see how many different, I've got 4 different things that I could make. It depends on whether I've got time to make all 4 or if I'm going to have to choose.
Well, I would say, especially Koza, which Fearbolgs do not benefit from any sleep buffs, right? Like you need 8 hours.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
No, I
thought
8 hours.
You're gonna need more.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, Iona, that you've got a good 10 hours of free time if you wanted. So you'd have, you need 4 of those for your trance and 6 to do whatever you want. I'd say brewing, what did you say, 4 potions in 6 hours is no problem.
Well, I've got enough to make 2 of each thing, and there are 4 things I could make. So I don't know if you want to count that as 8, or just say that I'm doing a batch enough for 2 vials of each thing. But
I'm gonna say that Azia has abandoned her potion brewing station. It remains. It looks like it's her stuff because it's near her sleeping spot. She's currently curled up in a little fetal cat ball at the foot of her Bast statue and sleeping soundly, little purr coming from her corner of the room. So her potion brewing station is free, and you're pretty good at this. I'll say it takes you a clean 30 minutes to brew one poison potion, whatever it is you wanted to do. So if you wanted to split that up and still have a little bit of free time before sleeping, that's totally up to you. But that's the timetable you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably... I'm saying I'm taking my reverie first, but that's still 4 hours in which I've got nothing to do. So I'll use those 4 hours to make the potion. So I'm going to guidance myself and then do it. Because it's 4 different things. Do you want 4 rolls or do you want just one?
Yeah, I mean, let's say, that it depends on what you want to make as far as the effects and the DC in order to acquire it. So why don't you just tell me what you wanted to roll on all, or what you wanted to brew on these 4 hours worth of brewing time?
Okay, so I'm just going to read them off in order of what I've got in my sheet. So I've got the beetle extract, which is like a burning sensation. Mm-hmm. I've got the nightshade, which is basically like a straight poison. I've got the ashvine berries for paralysis, and then I've got the bloodroot for internal bleeding. Okay.
You want to do one of each?
Well, you said 30 minutes to do one, so I could do all of them in the 4 hours, and I think I will, just to make sure I've got as much as I can have done. Okay. But yeah, I will be doing the 2 of each because I have ingredients to do 2 of each.
Okay, let's get 4 potion making rolls then.
Yeah, and I'll be guidancing myself each time.
Sure.
So, and guidance.
Ooh.
Okay. All right, so that's 4. Okay, so that's a 30, 27, 21, and 21.
Okay. So, do you want to take these in the order that you said? You're doing two of each of those 3 poisons, or I think I only see 4 rolls here. Or were there 2 of a certain type of potion each that you wanted to do?
No, I'm going to say that each of these rolls, so I'm going to say that it's sort of in order of how I read them out. So like that first one, the 30, is for my my 2 of the beetle extract.
Okay. So what is the damage that does?
You didn't say. You said it was for burning, but we didn't get that, like a burning feeling, but we didn't get that far.
All right. So how I'm doing this with you is all of the DCs for all of this stuff is 15, just flat 15.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's to make them functional. However, if you roll above a 20, if you roll above a 20, if you roll a 25 or higher, the dice for damage is increased by 1 set. So like 1d4 would be 1d6. And that's because you got every squeezing drop of this beetle essence into this potion and absorbed properly to make it very, very potent. So instead of 2d4 fire damage on a hit, if you coat your weapon with this beetle extract poison, it'll be 2d6 fire damage for that hit. Now, you get 3 uses for every coating on your blade. So 3 attacks with that blade. Yep. 3 attacks with 1 application. This is not like the other poison you made before with the rat poison. This can only be reduced and concentrated a certain amount before it starts to break down from the heat. So It's going to be 3 uses of 2d6, not 1 use of 66, like, the other stuff. So, and then you wanted to do the regular poison, or did you want to do the paralytic one?
Well, I think I'm gonna stick with what I said in terms of just doing it as as I listed it out. So I've got lethal extract poison now, fire damage, and then so I'm going to say that the next one was the nightshade. That 27 was just the nightshade, which is just a straight poison.
Yeah, so they just have to make a con save, and we'll go with your spell modifier. Your spell, you kind of rolled that into the poison, so that's the DC. That's going to be the DC is your, and it's going to be a con save on their part. If they fail, they're poisoned. And it's and that was a pretty good roll. So we'll say the duration is doubled. The duration that they're poisoned.
The duration be? Is it going to be like the
duration would be? It'd be 1 minute. It would be poisoned for 1 minute. So the fact that it's doubled, it would be poisoned for 2 minutes.
Okay. And then so then we've got a 21 for both of the other ones. So it's a 21 on the ashvine berries and a 21 on the bloodroot.
Okay, so the paralysis is if on a hit, again, they make a con save, it's the same as like a poisoning, except they are the duration is reduced from 1 minute to 6 seconds. So basically 1 full turn of paralysis. It's kind of like a neurotoxin. It hits really hard and really fast, and the effect wears off very quickly. But on a failed con save, instead of being poisoned, they are paralyzed until the end of their next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the bloodroot, the bloodroot, if on a successful hit, they also make a con save, and if they fail, their organs start to temporarily fail and weep blood from the inside. They develop internal bleeding. So every attack that they take on a failed save, they have to pass. This is not just to the end of their next turn. They have to pass another con save at the end of their next turn, or take 1d6 bleeding damage for every successful attack you make against them.
Okay, I've got that down.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And then once the others are awake, there are some things I'd like to say to the group, but that is, once the others are all awake, which in Koza's case may be a bit of a situation.
Well, I'll say this. Yuno and Baranor are the first to rise. Along with you, Iona, you're not a sleeper, but if you were, you'd be a light sleeper nonetheless. So any stirring of the group is enough to sway your gaze away from the window that you found yourself kind of finding some solace and peace at the windowsill next to your bed. You can find the dull orange glow of the sunrise beginning to bathe the treetops and the ground with morning sunrise light. Kervish, you are next to rise. It seems like nobody really took a watch, but you don't notice anything missing. Your door has not opened in the night. Doesn't seem like anybody crawled in your windows. I feel like Iona probably would have sensed that happening, and not a sound. Followed by Azia and Reaper. You guys kind of open your eyes. The crisp morning air is a welcome feeling as the morning finds you all. Koza is still snoring. Not loudly. He's doing that kind of deep sleep, drunk snore though, where he kind of has apnea moments where he's like, couple of you have to like roll him on his side every now and then. But even Koza in his, you grip your head with your massive verbal paws, and kind of you feel a sharp pain as your skull feels 3 sizes too small. Yeah, and you shake the sleepies out of your eyes as the group begins to pack your bags, and Koza beckons at this point, now that there are only 3 animals, he can fit all 3 of them in his ring. So he beckons Luna and the 2 cubs into the wolf's den ring. And, he kind of like, you get your stretches and your yawns and shaking your head like a dog in the morning. And you find the bar downstairs quite quiet, but before you all migrate, Iona, if you wanted to address the party.
Yeah, so I'm going to explain that while I was bathing, my aunt saw some kind of spell on me from a distance. Karish, of course, is already aware of this, but I sort of explained that if I appear to suddenly lose consciousness, or if I appear to suddenly be paralyzed, or just suddenly not aware of my surroundings the way I usually am, I want them to make sure I am pulled out of that somehow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I just sort of I explained that Aura didn't even seem to have much to say. It was probably something along the lines of a power play and a taunt. And I mean, Iona, they've done last night is that she's, the last time she was in a bar like that, it was with her brother the last time. And also, she's been unsuccessful last night, and her brother was always better at that sort of thing, but also he had his own reasons for why things might not work out, and she's thinking about that as well. So she sort of is staring off into the distance and is reminiscing a bit, and just says, my aunt does not have the right in my private moments, not after what she's done. And she just sort of, she takes out her dagger, which is it's a Talantar dagger. So there's a small symbol of Talona on the hilt, which it's only on one side of the hilt. So when it's sheathed, you can't really see it because it's pressing against her hips. But it is there, and she sort of leans the dagger so that the point is resting on the bed frame, but not actually really digging in. And she explains that in the Talantar, it is a practice that if a acolyte, in order to reach the priesthood, if an acolyte is found to be too beautiful or too charismatic, that has to be dealt with before they can become a priest. And while it was never an issue for her, it was an issue for her brother. And she says, I asked to be the one to do it. I volunteered. But Aura said that as High Priestess, it was her prerogative, and as our guardian, it was also her right. So my brother laid down on the altar, and Aura took her blade, and she carved so deep into his face that it scraped bone. He didn't give her the satisfaction of screaming, but she made it hurt more than it had to. And then, of course, I couldn't heal him with magic, so I cleaned the cuts, I bandaged his face. It took 2 years for him to admit to me that he could no longer stand the sight of his own reflection. So then I took the mirrors from our room and I went to the edge of the town and I found a rubbish tip and I threw them in. I didn't need a mirror because Levin was my mirror.
Azia winces a little. And she doesn't approach. She keeps her distance, but she gives you this look only a cat could. This resting bitch face look, but you can tell she's not looking at you. She's looking at who you're looking at in your mind's eye. And she passes you gently, and as she cinches up her outer garb for the day, you can feel the party kind of sigh a breath of non-relief, of pity, and you feel the pity, and you almost reject it outwardly, definitely inwardly, but you feel they can't help it. And Azia kind of rests a hand on your wrist, just briefly enough, and whispers, "We will be your mirror too. Beauty is not skin deep. Not everyone is graced with conventional beauty." And you feel her mourn for your heart. And she just kind of gives you a look. She touches the underside of your chin gingerly and saunters off towards the stairs leading to the entrance of the hotel. Is there anything anybody would like to do before the group leaves this room?
I will also come up to Iona and just gently place my hand on her shoulder and give her a reassuring nod. Tell her that your pain is now our pain.
Iona just says, it should have been both of us, or it should have been neither of us. It shouldn't have had to be only him.
In Kravish, you feel a sibling kinship. You know, you briefly, your emotions briefly touch on your own clutchlings. Growing up, if somebody messed with your little sister or older brother, you felt an immediate knee-jerk reaction to react.
You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
Yeah, and you and Iona kind of share that moment of you can relate to. It doesn't necessarily bring you closer to each other, but there's at least a mutual understanding. Yeah.
And then I'll just, pat her on the shoulder real quickly, and then I'll head out to get something to eat too.
Yeah.
It was like
breakfast is
mine.
Yeah, Koza's still sitting on his bed with his head kind of between his legs. Koza, I'm going to say, just because it's fun, that you have a point of exhaustion.
Oh my god.
Yeah, for sure.
For so long.
Just a minute.
Yeah, I'll choose when to alleviate you of that, but for now, yeah.
You are toe up,
You know what? Fair.
flow up, okay?
Breakfast of potatoes, sausage, and eggs is well met. The bartender slides Koza a hair of the dog drink, which surprisingly smells very good, and has a way of sort of reconnecting you with your state of mind last night for a brief moment. The morning air on the trail leading away from the hotel is it's early spring, still clinging to winter's chill. Very crisp, very chilly in the morning. You all kind of cinch up your cloaks and armor and coats close to the top of the nape of your neck. And you've got business.
Yeah. So.
Did you want to head straight there?
Yeah.
Or did you want to shop? What do you want to do?
I think we need to take care of business first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my...
Yeah, that's fine. The elder who you learn her name is Hefelda, Helfelda, Hefelda, is the village elder who you met. You're brought into her office. She looks like this, incidentally. And she receives you, and looks a little shocked, actually. You kind of take her by surprise a little, and she says, I heard of the returning adventurers having a little bit of a soiree last night, and I'm pleased to see it was you. I'll be honest, I didn't expect you to return after challenging the beast of the wood. I'm guessing by the state of your being alive that you were successful.
You are correct.
And
she just a challenging fight, no doubt.
Yeah, she just kind of looks you up and down. She's like, well, you don't seem much worse for the wear. Tell me, do you have anything to show for the battle? Don't see any deep scars in you. Are you sure you found the right hovel?
I show her my breastplate. That's like acid eaten. Like, just open my coat, and I'm like,
Well, let's see. I'm going to have her roll insight because... she didn't do too bad, so she believes you. She's skeptical, though. She's like, no trophies to show at all.
Well, you know, it kind of took one of the biggest guns we had to finally take it down, which unfortunately didn't leave a lot of physical evidence behind.
Well, we've got those teeth, right? Who has the teeth?
Yeah, I think we got like a tooth or two, yeah.
There were some tooth fragments that we have, but I don't remember who.
And I know someone how well they fit into a few of the dents on my breastplate.
You kind of fit him into the... Yeah. Go ahead and make a medicine check just to see if you can orient them. Because they're not teeth, they're like broken teeth. And she kind of looks at them up and down and looks at you and
9.
Yeah, you're just like, look, they fit, right? And it's like they vaguely fit in the holes in your armor, and she's just like, I don't know. Those holes weren't there before, and now they are, and here you are. And Azia just gets frustrated and just says, deal with this spell, and she's going to cast Zone of Truth. So, I'm going to say that Hefelda does not passively take that on. She's going to make a saving throw. She's going to fail her saving throw. So I guess everything she says is truthful. Does anybody else choose to fight the spell? I'm guessing, Kravish, you're probably going to want to be seen as telling the truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to say with...
Is it a charisma save?
So,
wisdom save?
Yeah, it's a wisdom save if you don't want to. If you're within... how big is the zone? Is it 15 feet? Let me look at that real quick. If you don't want to have to tell the truth, you do have to make a wisdom save if you are within... Let's see... Yeah, 15 feet from Kravish. Actually, it's a 15-foot radius sphere. Yeah, so 15 foot from Kravish. You'd have to roll a wisdom save. Yeah.
It's a charisma saving throw.
Okay. Well, she's going to fail that too. She's not very... I'm talking about Hefelda. Yeah, he's right. It is a charisma saving throw. She shouldn't have great charisma. A tiny little entering older years gnome is not very charismatic. Go figure. So she buys it, and you see her. You guys kind of go back and forth with explaining what happened, and there's actually a bit of a small crowd gathering at the threshold as you explain all this, as people can hear you talking within the mayor's office building.
Yeah, and I make sure to include the part that, when our cleric was gobbled up and tried to get chewed, that I, with like little regard for my own health and safety, like teleported right in there to help heal her and save her.
Just to have the wizard switch places with her and then Misty step out.
Yeah, little bastard.
Let's not forget that happened.
I was getting there.
Hey, work smarter, not harder.
Hey, I respect the game. And yeah, her eyes bulge out of her head, and she kind of sits back in her chair. And as you finish, retelling the ordeal, she kind of leans back in her chair. Sounds like a fight of your lives, almost. Interesting and unique, and not one I'd want to visit upon myself personally.
It's on our top 5 for sure.
I have no doubt. Well, you have the thanks of Hopton. This creature was truly a menace, and owes several of our citizens' lives to its fury, and therefore we owe the rest of our lives to you. I believe a deal is a deal, and you have earned yourself the assistance of the Hopton Archer's Watch. And she's going to kind of give a little whistle out the door, and you see what looks like a not armored, but kind of like a captain of the guard of those archers. So his armor is a little nicer. His hood and cloak is a little less haggard and tattered. And he's got a pretty decent looking bow. You see Baranor kind of eye his whole setup with a little bit of mutual respect, if not admiration. And he just kind of stands tall before her desk, and she just kind of looks at him and says, "These are the folks that rid us of that monster. I believe it's time we extend to them the use of our archers in their assault on the needle." And he kind of straightens up and looks over at you all, and he's like, "That's so. Well, the fact that you hope to take on that great evil, and you've taken on one, gives us hope that we might get to see some real action over there." And he's kind of got like this long mustache that sort of droops, of red hair that droops down beneath his chin. And he's got like a real prominent chin, a big, huge, gnomish, like hooked, bulbous nose. And he just kind of shifts in step, and he's like, "What type of oppression are we looking at the needle particularly?"
Okay. So, what I'll do is I will use minor illusion to kind of bring up a rough 3D sketch of the town.
Okay, a holographic map,
basically. And then myself and the rest of us can pitch in where we are, talking about the various defenses and everything.
Perfect. Geez, let's construct a military strategy check here. What we could do, a intelligence check. Yeah, let's have I would like one from two of you. So 2 rolls from your best strategists. Let's have 2 military and strategy checks.
Okay, who's got the highest intelligence or guidance? One of them.
Okay.
Yeah, my intelligence is a 14. I have a +2.
What?
I got a 16.
Are we doing just a straight intelligence, or?
Well. Let's call it. Yeah, you're proficient in history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make it a history check, but it's going to be like kind of a battle strategy as far as where to where to post these archers up to their maximum effectiveness, and then I'll take another one from somebody. It looks like Reaper's pretty smart. She got a 21. That's not bad.
So
I'm also proficient in history, so I've got a +8. Oh, sorry, you talking stuff?
I said the 21 was the charisma saving throw for the.
Okay. I gotcha.
You don't got
Okay.
a 20. It's history.
She's not smart.
All right.
She is not intelligent. No.
She's a warlock. Of course she's not intelligent. She has a certain natural intelligence bestowed by a demon.
It's a different kind of intelligence.
It is very different. Iona, if you would like to roll, I don't think anybody else is going to come that much closer to an 8, a +8. So a 29.
Yeah, I'll guidance myself, and then I'll.
And this feels earned too, just because of your involvement with Ara, I think. So a dirty 30 and a 29. Really, really good. It would have been really cool if you both got over 30, but that's all right. So as Kravish kind of has this... What's that?
Didn't I get guidance or a blessing? What's that?
I think that it's a 1d4.
Added
Okay,
1d.
well,
I mean, I'd guidance myself. If someone else wants to guidance, then.
that'll put me at 33.
Yeah, we'll have Azia do it. Azia guidance is So a dirty 30 and a 33 is really good. So that makes a difference. 2 rolls above 30. It's a military strategy check. So as Kravish kind of rotates, even if you can't rotate it, it's it's giving video game vibes for sure. As you rotate this holographic map of the town of the Needle, just kind of like zooming in here and putting little lit up dots where you think the archers should go. It's clear that they're going to be very ancillary. You're probably not going to see them. They're going to be on the outskirts of the town. The Needle is not like a huge sprawling city. Very good. That whatever that map is, that's very similar to what you're seeing. You get the feeling like they're going to be on the edges of town and perhaps hidden from whatever, definitely hidden from the village center. And you get the feeling like they could definitely do like a volley of arrows, you get the feeling like that's kind of what their contribution's going to be, that they're going to kind of shoot arrows into the field of play. And the captain of the watch is going to hand you a small flute, and it has two little necks. It's like a shape of a Y. You blow into it and you can manipulate 2 sides of it. Kravish, and he's going to teach you a very easy to learn short tune, and a couple of like tune-like commands. So you're going to want to keep this flute on your person or somebody's person. But since you have good performance, he feels like he'd probably play this the best. This is how you will command the archers. You will be able to, if you guys do like a full-on assault and you've got the whole of the Needle laid out, you will be able to pick a place where you can affect a 20-foot wide circle and like a 10-foot radius. And within that circle, you guys are, let's face it, the Crown Collectors at this point are pretty legendary, so you guys will get some legendary actions. And the Archers of Hopton are one of them. So, at any point during a full round of turns, you can do it once per round of turns, any one of you can call upon this Archer force. And I'll give you the stats of this attack, but it will be a legendary action. Nobody has to sacrifice any attack on their own turn. This is just a free action at any point, but you can only use it once. That you'll be able to attack with these archers a certain spread
Like
of
one-time
damage.
legendary action.
It's not a one time only. It's one time per round of turns. So it's
Okay.
kind of like a legendary action that it resets once a certain turn order has been expunged.
And you'll send like the particulars. You'll make an item card or to.
Yeah, I will. I'll put it in the chat. Obviously, you're not going to need it right now.
Of course not.
Yeah, and you guys kind of spend the better part of like 2 or 3 hours kind of contemplating this and discussing their battle strategy and their contribution to your effort, and sort of discussing what the needle is like and what they can expect as far as making sure that their own perimeters are safe. You swap stories as far as what you've encountered with the walking rot thus far. And they also recount their experience with the walking rot. They're not terribly far away from the needle. They're about maybe half a day's hike away from the needle region, and they've had their own encounters with the walking rot, not nearly that many. Just because the separation between the needle and Hopton is separated by Isa Gorge, which thankfully is a big enough natural landmark to keep an entire army from just spreading out this way towards Hopton. So Hefelda thanks you all very much for your effort in ridding them of this lesser Tarask creature. And they're gonna, they're gonna slide you a small purse as a bonus. So let's see what they gather up in donations to offer you. They each gives you a purse worth 106 gold. It's not a massive purse, but it is certainly a kind gesture, and she offers her many thanks for keeping the people of Hopton safe. That you will be remembered for your revelry as well as your service to the good people of Hopton, and the captain of the watch makes sure to shake your hand and thank you himself personally. So yeah, you now have a tiny flute, I don't know what you'd call that, a tiny two-necked flute. Didn't Mr. Tumnus have something like that?
It was like a little pan flute.
Yeah, it's like a tiny two-necked pan. It's not a pan flute. It's a tiny little piccolo whose end splits in a wing.
The double flute. Aulos, I can't remember the Greek pronunciation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a lupaka. That's also a form of it. I think it's a native flute. But it's very distinctive. Kravish, you've never played one of these, but you feel that you'd be able to get the hang of it rather quickly. It's just simple. It's more of a tool than it isn't a musical instrument, although you kind of find yourself...
I'm proficient in flute.
Yeah, you kind of find... I'm literally looking at that exact picture, Steph. Yeah. It looks more like a wishbone, but definitely the same idea. You find yourself kind of playing with it a little bit, like you make little cell phone ringtones out of it in your own head. Your gear is packed. Your reward is supplied. The mayor thanks you. She's not a mayor. They refer to her as the town elder, Hefelda. She again thanks you for your service and shakes your hand one last time. Returns to her work behind her desk. The day is yours. Is there anything anybody else would like to do in the town of Hopton?
No, you had already mentioned before, they don't have anything like an armor or anything like that around here.
No, they do not. There's no one in town that makes swords. They don't. It's not that kind of town. It's a very meager, very simple town. They do have a Fletcher, But they don't even have like a livery. Like your horses are, I mean, you're able to buy carrots to feed them, and that's about it. There's not even a farrier because the people here don't use horses. There's a blacksmith, but it's mostly for like nail. The guy like makes nails and bracketry and hinges, and that's about it. So no armor. There's a place you can get clothing from, but it's mostly imported stuff that you would have, you'd find in pretty much any city as far as a very simple clothier. There's a general store. There, like you visited already. There's a little apothecary that you've been to before, and that's kind of it. There's a pelt trader, and and few dozen villagers, and that's about it. Or I should say, a few dozen villager houses.
Well then, guess we're done.
I'm gonna buy some more nightshade from the apothecary, just another like 6, which would then get me another, 2 vial when
Sure.
I connect brew potions. So,
No problem.
and how do we want to divide up the 106? Do we want that to go into party fund? Do we want to split it between us? Do we want to split it between us with a share for the party fund? The gold.
here.
Azia. Nope, go ahead.
Oh, Zia. Oh, we splitting it.
No. She's going to reject a share. She doesn't need money.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, you do find her. She's wearing her outer robes with that coin-covered scale mail. And you don't see, there are no beggars here. There's no street urchins or anything like that, but you do see like a little stand in the market section of the tree houses where someone's got like a little spittoon and there's coins and there's a little sign that says alms for the traveling poor. And you see her take a little prison shank knife from her hip and she cuts a couple of silver coins from her armor and drops them in there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I'll take 6 gold, and I'll place it in there. So now we have an even 100.
Sure. Yeah.
I'd say 10
And-
gold pieces for each of us, and then the remaining 40 go in the kitty.
At the moment that you're divvying up gold is miraculously when the Mellish brothers show up again.
Like they can smell it.
Yeah. They speak Dwarven to you. Those that can speak Dwarven, you can hear them say, "Oh, where's our share?" And who is the one that can speak Dwarvish?
Oh, I can.
And I think that Baranor can, but
I'm going to say right now he's not
You
listening.
guys to show up when there's money. What the hell?
Yeah, they are both carrying what looks like a couple of sacks of coin that they're sort of jingling in their hand, and they tie them to their belt as if they weren't there before.
And in that case, Iona is going to say, well, how about an exchange of information? She's saying this in Dwarven. Well, how about an exchange of information? You explain where that came from, and she just sort of indicates with her eyes the sacks of coin, and why you disappeared so very quickly last night. And in return, I will tell you how much we're each taking as our share of the gold from killing this rat.
Marcus is going to sort of eye you with this steely gaze of how dare you understand what we're saying and speak our language. And they're going to regretfully decline a share and also decline explaining themselves, and they're just going to kind of mosey to the front of the group and take a tactical stance away from the group and in the guise of keeping an eye on the path ahead.
Okay, because can I insight check to guess any reasoning for why they're refusing to explain themselves, or were they too vague for something like that to be effective?
Well, they're under a hood, so I'll give you a insight check at disadvantage to read their body language.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be easy, but I'll do it just for the sake of what can I figure out?
Sure. A 12 insight. They don't. You definitely get the feeling that they are hiding where they got their new purses, and a 12 will only give you that you can tell that those are purses they did not own the night before.
In that case, I'm going to talk to Reaper, and I'm just going to say, so these people you travel with, how often do they steal things?
Every single moment of every single day. What they do. They're also really good at picking locks and disarming traps, but I would keep an eye on your gold. They will try to take it.
Do they enjoy being poisoned?
They probably wouldn't enjoy it.
Then they shouldn't try to take my gold.
I agree. However,
they are dwarves. Dwarves
they're
are
not
renowned for being pretty hardy against such things.
that is fair.
That is very true.
Not against what I would do.
I think I like you.
Well, the road lies before you. Which direction do you wish to go from here? Are you heading back towards the Needle region? Do you want to go somewhere else? Do you want to abandon the mission and just keep going west?
No.
That's always an option. I just want to make that clear. It's always an option to abandon the quest.
Well, y'all gonna have to remind me, where were we originally heading to begin with? Were we heading back to the Needle?
Well, we were heading to meet up with reinforcements, weren't we? We were getting reinforcements from one of the crown
Right,
characters.
Marquis was bringing reinforcements.
Well, he did that. He dropped off Reaper and the twins. Yeah, you guys kind of came here. Not here. You guys were on your way on mission to destroy Adnosh and his necromancers. You did that, and then you found this father and two sons being trafficked towards the Needle, killed their kidnappers, and came to Hopton. Yep, and escorted them back to Hopton. So I would say really your next steps is totally up to you. You don't have like a pressing matter to attend to, but now you do find yourself with reinforcements from the Marquis. You find yourself with a force of archers at your disposal whenever you call upon them. And it's also understood that you're to message with enough time for them to hike to wherever you're at and post up. So you blow that flute and no one's going to hear you if you don't let them know when they are needed.
So what would be from where we are? Where's one of the nearest major cities to try to drum up some additional reinforcements?
Without a why don't we just bring up the map and take a look. I can tell you there's not a lot. You'd have to at least travel back towards the Needle and maybe go south. But let's go over here to the Needle, to the map of where you're all at. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think there's much around.
Yeah, you guys are like right here under the of the Needle.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we are in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. I'll make this a little bigger so you can see the surrounding area, and there. So there's not a whole lot around you aside from these little villages that you come across, but they're peppered, they're sprinkled throughout the Garden of Mist. It's a very dense forest, and with forests like this, you don't have the capacity for large sprawling towns or cities. So
Another option is if Yuno is willing, make a teleportation circle back to Stonehelm Keep, and we can send missives out to all of our various allies out and about as far as a call to arms regarding the situation.
I mean, but even if we do that, it's going to be days, if not weeks, before people can get to where we need them to be.
True. They would have to physically march out.
Yeah, Azia is going to pipe up. Let us not forget, they are bringing more and more kidnapped people with each passing day. Roderick and his sons are proof of this. We need to put a stop to the Needle's forces sooner rather than later.
I hear you. I'm just spitballing here. All right. Anybody got any bright ideas?
Aside from poisoning the drug stash of the fast one of Ara's lieutenants.
Love that.
Yeah, there's one of Ara's lieutenants. You guys learned has a skiing habit. He's quick and nimble and dangerous with a blade. But those of you who have any knowledge, Krivish, you know, definitely Iona, maybe Reaper, you understand that skiing is a narcotic drug. It's psychoactive, and it's very highly addictive. It has a way of draining your vitality if you've got a really bad addiction to it. It seems like this guy definitely has an addiction. And you know what? I'm going to need a medicine check from someone proficient in it. It's not a magical drug, so you don't need we can't roll Arcana, but definitely a medicine check just to get you in the headspace of being familiar with its effects, maybe, just so you can understand.
I have half proficiency from Jack of all trades.
Right.
I don't know if anybody else is proficient in it.
I'm not proficient in it, but I have a +5 regular.
Yeah, mine's +4.
Well, I'm gonna let Iona roll because you're a poisoner, and drugs are definitely something you've studied. Just in case you're able to take advantage of them. So you can roll medicine. Krivish, you can roll medicine. Is Koza, are you proficient in medicine, being that you're a cleric? I don't know. You weren't a cleric at first, though.
I think I'm proficient in medicine. Give me a second.
Yeah. Is it possible for...
Yes, I am proficient in medicine.
Okay, let's get a roll from you, too.
Somebody.
Alrighty. Sounds good. Doink.
Can I guidance myself, or is this more of a...
I was that with advantage.
No, you can guide yourself, and as soon as you hear skiing, your mind starts reeling, and that I'll allow you to guide yourself. Yeah, Azia will guidance you, Krivish.
Okay.
Okay, not fantastic. That's a 13.
30-20.
Okay. So a 13 is not a failure. It's not great. So I'll say that you're not sure on... you at least know the properties of skiing. What it does is it speeds up your heart rate, and it allows you to move quickly for a very brief moment, maybe 10 seconds. It allows you to kind of double your speed and get around real fast, but there's a crash afterwards. And someone who's addicted to it, the benefits and the detriments are a little dulled, so it doesn't provide nearly as much benefit, but the withdrawal isn't nearly as bad because they've got a bit of a tolerance for it. But you do know that if someone who has never taken it before takes it, or at least doesn't have an addiction, you get a double movement for one turn. You get advantage on dexterity saving throws. You get advantage on perception checks. You get advantage on. You get disadvantage on all charisma checks, and you get disadvantage on wisdom saving throws. That's what happens when you take skiing. It also does some psychoactive things that, I'll roll a D100 to see what experiences you get from it. But that's kind of what you understand. What you don't really get is the how to properly, you mentioned poisoning his supply. How to do that? You'd have to kind of perhaps do a little trial and error and maybe some brewing to kind of get the understandings, the chemistry understandings of what Skeen can do when influenced by other chemicals. Kravish, for you, you've never used it. But you did play cards with a guy who used it before, and you were able to kind of he bartered, or he wagered some of it, little pouch of Skeen, to which you smelled it and were instantly revolted by it and sold it immediately.
Yep.
So you definitely know the same things that Iona knows about it. And let's see, Koza, did you want to roll too? Because you're proficient in medicine as well. Oh, you did? Oh, you did.
I rolled a 17 and then an 8 for some reason.
Yeah. Well, it's probably because you're at advantage for some reason. 17, yeah, you learn the same. You learn the properties of it, and that's about it. Not good stuff, because if you take it once, you have to make a con save, and if you don't make a con save, you are addicted to it, and it's kind of a bitch to get off of it.
Well, maybe we need to kind of look around and see what this compromised high priest's supply is coming from. Maybe we can intercept him during a buy or something like that to try to get information.
If we are going to intercept anything, we will have to travel back to the needle, at least to the nearby area. If we are to intercept a delivery, it will be there, not here.
So do we want to start traveling?
Say again?
Do we want to start traveling?
On we go again. All right. Yeah, we'll have to get back to the needle, because I don't think they're going to travel out of the area unless the supplier is somewhere else here in the Garden of Mist.
I will say, Iona, you, in your spying of the needle from your various vantage points, you have seen this pallid, wallowing, kind of lanky, pale-skinned, a real kind of shriveled Dracula kind of fella, if you will. You've seen him quite a few times milling about the center of the needle with a retinue of people around him. So you feel like he's centrally located. You've never seen him leave the area. You get the feeling that whatever he's doing, he's getting it brought to him.
Okay, so there is definitely a possibility of intercepting it. I think the thing is, I only would like the chance of sort of trial and error without the pressure of having an intercept delivery, but I don't think that the place where we're at is likely to have Skeen around. That I could just get and then sort of try and sort of cook up to see the best way to mix poisons into it, but yeah.
You want to try to score Skeen here at Hopton?
I don't think Hopton has much in the way of
drug trade, yeah. I mean, I recognize the problem.
Small town America has a very big narcotic problem, so it's possible.
Probably the most Hopton has is some mushrooms and maybe some herbs that someone's growing in their back garden, but I don't imagine that there's any kind of thriving drug culture here.
You see there are a couple of houses where the snow is melted in perfect circles on the roofs. Someone's got a lantern lit there all day.
Man, their oil is really high.
No shit. In this economy, I don't know. Well, Your journey back to the northeast towards the needle is going to require a perception check. You are half a day's travel from where I'm going to say you're half a day's travel, and then an hour's hike from the needle proper. But you guys came from an area of forest where Azia had her little hut set up, and that was like 10 minutes of hard running away from the needle to get there. So you're a good 6 hours hike away. So I'll need a perception check from two of you, one keeping an eye on the front and one keeping an eye on the back.
Baranor will take the front, and I'll take the rear.
Yeah.
He has like a plus 13, and he can't roll below a 10. Like, is that what the
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. 23.
So 15, 28.
All right. Okay, so Kervish out front, Baranor in the back.
Backwards, actually. Baranor's in the front, Kervish is in the back.
Okay, no problem. It's not long before you, in your hiking, find yourself back into the wintry, chilly air with a light coating of snow. Because, like I said, within the bounds of Hopton, the snow has receded. It's almost like spring has come early for this part of the wood. Your feet crunch on frozen dead leaves as you trudge through the forest floor, and Baranor does a really good job of retracing your steps and figuring out which direction you came from until you come to, once again, the clearing of the Isa Gorge Bridge crossing. This really massive, wide, carved ravine that feels bottomless. It just disappears into darkness at the bottom. And with the haziness of the forest, you don't get a clear shot of the sky to light the bottom of this chasm. And the bridge lay before you. And this kind of signifies the barrier between what could be considered the civilized world separated from this constant feeling of death in the air. The closer you get to the needle, there are fewer woodland creatures here. And Azia is going to follow Baranor across the bridge. Do you all cross without incident?
Of course we would love to cross without incident.
That's true. Yes, without incident entirely. I gotta go.
Aw, okay. I will handle role playing both you and Baranor for the time being.
Peace out, Steph.
Bye, guys. You guys have a good time.
Bye.
You too. We'll see you on, let's see, what is that going to be? The 22nd of March.
That's about right.
And tell Bogey we missed him, and we're looking forward to seeing him next time. Okay. All right. Crossing the bridge, you kind of look around, and that blackness of the bottom of this ravine seems like almost like a pool of inky, oily water. It roils slowly to the surface with little tendrils of smoke. And that's when you notice that the end of the bridge seems very heavily obscured by fog, or what you thought was fog. And a quickly rising black smoke from the ravine as you all try to cross this bridge envelops the sun above and wraps its tendrils of inky darkness around either end of the bridge. There's no sound, no wind, no birds, just nothing. An oily residue follows these tendrils as they slap onto the surface. There is a quiet danger here. The way off the bridge quickly becomes blocked. And that's when you feel it. The reality of this space begins to warp, unsettling your stomachs, bending your minds as everything feels as if it's leaning or tilted. You grab your head as an instant headache pounds on your temples. Your equilibrium warbles, and you become queasy and off balance. Some of you have felt this before. In the lair of Shekis, the black dragon, just after her labyrinth, but before the pool of water that led to her inner chamber, you encountered a giant warped mound of tendrils and tree roots. I need everyone to roll a wisdom saving throw. Oh dear.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh.
All right. Well, a 17 is what you needed to beat, you know. Kravish fails. Koza fails. I'm going to say that I really wish I knew what his stats are, but I'm just going to give him a +5. Okay. I think it's even higher than that. I'm going to roll again for Reaper. And not good. I'm going to roll twice for the Mellish twins. Oh, dear. Everyone's failing on my part except for Baranor. And this does not affect Luna, surprisingly. Oh, so everyone but Yuno, and let's get one. Oh, and Iona. Okay, so the two of you notice that the rest of your party are locked. Their bodies are stock still, and there is an arcane, a very, very raw arcane hold on all of these people. Kravish, Reaper, the Mellish twins, and definitely Koza. You guys can't move. You can't speak either. You are stock still. And that's when all of you hear this very deep, loud, raspy voice from beneath the bridge. Walkers above, they bear the essence. But have they seen it? Or is it an illusion? Rising out of the foaming, roiling chasm of black shadow and smoke, you see an immense, vaguely humanoid torso. Let me prime up what that looks like.
I'm sorry, we specifically requested without incident.
Yeah, I know, but you didn't roll that good. That's not my fault. Okay. All right. You see a vaguely humanoid torso of pure darkness. Its face featureless, obscured by an ebony veil. Its limbs outstretch and separate and rejoin into 2, 4, 3, 6, back to 4 arms, ending in long, piercing, 4-fingered claws, dripping with oil and smoke. Its stench is heavy. You, travelers of the bridge, you smell of a bardax. You reek of it. My apologies. I will release you in exchange for your parlay. Do you agree? And he's looking at Iona and Yuno, the only ones that can react.
I will agree to a parlay.
He kind of eyes you. He's going to roll a little insight. Okay. Are you being truthful?
Yeah, I will agree to talking things out with this entity.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, he's gonna believe you. But he's not gonna release everyone. Let's see here. He's going to release 2 of you, and of you, let's see. There are 8 of you. 2 of you are not. So 6 are bound. 6 are technically held. So let's just roll a d6 and go down the Discord list. See who he releases first. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of the Mellish brothers and Kravish. You find your faculties return to you, an achiness in your muscles as you were forcefully made rigid in a kind of half-walking position, which was a little awkward to hold under, forceful means. Kind of shake the creakiness out of your limbs, and you find that you can act and talk. So he repeats, "You smell of a Bodax. How?"
What is that he says we smell like?
He's saying you smell of a Bodax.
A Bodax. Okay.
I think that might be the entity which has corrupted the holy symbols of Talona, that the entity that Aura is now maybe serving, maybe thinking she's serving Talona, maybe thinking she's serving both of them.
Yeah, roll an insight check on that one.
Is that the
Are you saying that to this creature?
No, this is me thinking about it, but
Yeah.
so that I think I can... Bordock, that is the entity, right? That was the name. Or am I getting things mixed up?
No, this is a new name to you. You've never heard this
New name.
before. Mm-hmm. Abodax, a Bodax.
Okay, in that case, could it be the Taras? The Taras did not seem like it had acquaintances, but...
What's a Tarask?
I stop. I'm going to use, if I can, I'm going to use minor illusion to bring up, an image that looks like what we're calling Baby Trask. And I'm like, Is this who you're referring to as Abodax?
You instantly feel like a seething hatred and frustration emanate as if it were a color off of this creature. It's definitely giving a Ether Realmly energy. This creature, the fact that its limbs warp and split and rejoin, there's a slight warping of reality. You definitely feel otherworldly, something about this creature. And so the hatred and burning seething just oozes off of this creature. Like
and
I
as soon
said,
as that happens, I kill the spell like that. It's like, okay.
It is my quarry, my charge. I thought you were a Bodax. It is a creature of profound danger, at least to those who dwell above the rift. And he swells in size and gives a small, vaguely courteous bow. I am Legistier, guardian of the rift. It was clawed into the earth long ago by an ancient power. Now it stands as a snaking ravine, a doorway miles wide separating my world. And he points down to the rift. And your world. It is my charge to keep the fel from spilling out into your realm. A Bodax escaped some time ago. I pursued for a spell, but we cannot survive in your world for long. I was forced to retreat, but now the stench of a Mordax returns to the rift. How did you come by this creature? It lairs deep in seclusion and only hunts during your night. Unlikely you stumbled upon it.
So,
We killed it.
yeah, we'll look to each other, and then I will start to tell the story of how, these villagers who were plagued by this mysterious creature who is just killing them off, eating them right and left. And, we ventured out and we found the hiding space, and how we vanquished the creature.
You see him recoil and look from person to person as multiple people are talking to him. Lies. A Mordax is mighty. You are but puny mortals, food for the beast. To slay this creature is to slay a force of nature. You must have thieved his lair while he hunted, stole his treasures like rats. That is how his stench clings to you. I will show you.
Well, I probably have a pretty good stench of it because I fought my way out of its stomach.
No doubt it tasted your flesh. I will show you what it takes to best a Mordax. Then you will know true power. And you see him wave his forearms, and these wafts of smoke and shadow separate and form other smaller humanoid-like shapes that start to surround you on the bridge.
I
want to move.
I look right at him and I go, "Good sir, I am a vested paladin of the Platinum Dragon. I'm not going to lie."
No, but there is something off. It makes no sense. We'll see how formidable you are. Defend yourselves. And I'm going to need everybody to roll initiative and place yourselves on the map, on the bridge.
Fudge buckets.
He does not believe you. I had him roll insight twice, and he doesn't believe you. You couldn't possibly have bested this creature.
You couldn't have just partially disintegrated him.
All right, let me stretch Curvish out. I'm going to put Reaper on the map somewhere. Right there. There's Yuno. There is Iona. Koza, go ahead and stick yourself on the map too. And I got to do Baranor as well. And I'll do Luna.
You might have to do me too.
Okay. Let's make you correct size. There you go. And Luna. Where's Luna? There's Luna. I'll make Luna right next to Baranor. Oops. Luna is too big. There she goes. All right. So that is... Oh, and Azia as well. Oh, she's already on the map. That's fine. All right. So, let's see. Azia, Mellish Twins, Kravish. I am going to add turns for everyone that's not there already. And we will just keep them at 0. Obviously, I mean, it's 5:47. We'll do a couple turns if we can of combat, but we'll have those that aren't here roll their initiative next time. For now, they'll all be last. Too bad. If I remember correctly, Luna usually goes on Baranor's turn, yes? I believe that's correct.
Yes.
All right. So, is Koza on the board? No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
I mean, sorry, he's not in the turn order, I meant. Okay. Koza, go ahead and roll initiative and input your numbers so I can descend. Perfect. All right, so for now, Baranor and Reaper will go last. As it stands now, you are first. Azia will be after you. And he's kind of, you notice he's like hovering between 5-foot spaces, kind of slowly back and forth. He has no legs, 4 arms. Looks like a big Grim Reaper without a scythe.
You know what? We're gonna start this off with a nice fireball centered right on the middle of him.
Okie dokie. I need to roll a dex save.
Right.
Let me do that. I'm going to do that publicly. Oh, that was almost a 19. That's okay. He got a 7. But you know what? He's going to use a legendary resistance and choose to pass that anyway.
Well, 36 is full, so he's going to take half.
All right. So what? 18 points. Let me go ahead and populate his health bar. All right. You said 36, so okay, 18. Okay. All right. I'm guessing you're centering that so the Mellish twins don't get hit with it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And then I'm going to push his bitch ass with my mind.
Okay. All right. That's much better. That's a 21.
Okay, he goes nowhere.
Yeah, he's a free-floating, amorphous Ghostbusters term, so I don't think you're going to push him anywhere. All right, Azia is going to get in the middle of this crowd, and she's going to use a channel divinity and turn undead. Let me just look up exactly how that works. Okay. It's a saving throw. Okay. So you see Azia's eyes glow golden. She raises her cat's paw staff in the air and slams it down, and you feel this wave of divine energy radiate outward from her. And some of this energy looks like it passes through these two because they're closer, and it has no effect. And that's when she turns to the group and says, "I do not believe these are undead." And that's going to be her turn. Kravish, you are up.
Okay. I am going to guessed it. I am going to cast Flitty Fairies.
Okay.
That's so it hits that guy.
Yep. I will roll a whiz save for him.
DC 17.
Let's see. +2. Pretty good. Pretty good indeed.
Yeah.
He takes half.
So he takes 8.
Okay.
And then I'll just kind of meander over this way and get him.
Okay. That's not very good.
No, he'll take the full 16.
All right.
And then I'm going to wander up this way. Let's see, 10, 15. So now that guy gets in it.
Okay. 16. Not good enough.
That's 16 damage.
Okay.
And I am just going to park it right here, keeping as many folks as I can here in this little bubble.
Okay.
For my bonus action, what do I have for a button that will fit here? I am going to I'm going to look over to the Mellish twins, and I'm going to go, all right, Heckle and Jekyll, I know you guys can earn your keep, so do some crafty rogue shit, and I'm going to give them Bardic Inspiration.
All right. Is that the end of your turn? All right. The Mellish twins are going to act, and then it's Koza and Iona after him. They are going to... I know there's two of them, but they're going to split up. One of them's going to be on this side, so I'll just, for the sake of ease, just double their thing. There we go. One of them's over here, one of them's over there. And they are going to... the one on this side is going to toss 2 daggers at the cloaked creature here. For the sake of a better term, we'll call them wraiths, although they are different. They are not undead. And this guy right here is going to throw 2 hand axes. So let's do 2 attacks from Marcus. Oh, does a 13 hit? A 13 hits! Woohoo! Okay, and a 23 hits. So that's him. Let's do his brother. Is going to throw 2 axes. A 16 is pretty good. Or it's enough. 22 is way better. All right. So 2 daggers. Unfortunately, he doesn't get any sneak attack, but he does 25 points of damage. That's pretty freaking great. Okay. Now for the other one. He hits with 2 hand axes, which are better, but he does not... Oop, hold on. Those do not count. He doesn't have that much of a modifier. Okay, 12 and 11. That's still real good. That's 23. That is not terrible. And Marcus over here is going to try to hide behind Baranor. Take the hide action. Let's see how he does. 16, good enough. He's now hiding behind Baranor's cloak. Let me take the damage off of this guy. All right. Okay. Koza and Iona up on deck. What does Koza wish to do?
I will probably just throw a guiding bolt at this guy. That is a ranged spell attack on my part.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Does a 14 hit?
Which dude? This guy here?
Yeah.
Yeah, a 14 does hit.
Okay, perfect. He takes 4d6 radiant damage.
Okay.
That's 16.
16. You notice that this damage is detrimentally, horribly devastating to this creature. As soon as it gets hit with radiant damage, it's like you burned it with acid. It does double damage.
And you did notice that. Did you calculate double damage for my hits as well? Because it's radiant?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Just wasn't nearly as devastating as a would you shoot moonbeam at it, right?
I just shot a guiding bolt at it.
Okay, yeah, guiding bolt, yeah. And now it's lit up. And it does not like being lit up. Let me see, what could be a symbol for having advantage because of guiding bolt? Just do a bolt. Yeah, okay.
I think as a bonus action, I will summon a spiritual weapon.
Okay.
I can't summon it, like, in the air, right? They'd have to be somewhere near the ground.
Well, what does the spell say? Does it say anything about having to... I don't think it has to be on ground.
It says you create a floating spectral weapon.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Well, then I'm going to spawn it next to this other guy.
It'd be great if you spawned it and it only floats above the ground, so it just drops to wherever the bottom of the ravine is and stays there. All right. Do you need me to spawn that in for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Oops.
That's another melee spell attack.
All right. But you put it wherever you want it.
That's not as good. That's a 10.
Okay. Can you control that?
Yes.
Okay. No, a 10's not enough.
All right, well, that ends my turn.
All right. Iona, it is your turn.
Yeah, I am going to also do Spirit Guardians.
Okay.
And I'm also upcasting to 4th level.
All right.
So
Do you know how to put an aura? Do you know how to put an aura on your character?
I can aura myself, actually. Let me...
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's 15. Okay, weirdly, the aura isn't actually reaching what is 15 foot according to the...
Yeah. If it's not in your circle, it does. We've run into this before. If it's not in your circle, it doesn't count.
Okay,
that's kind of the inconsistency of Roll20. So you can write them an angry email if you want. I have.
Okay, right, yeah. So if we've already got like a preset way of handling this, then yeah, I'm gonna. So that's gonna hit this one automatically.
Yep. He is going to take a wisdom save and get a 22, natural 20.
Okay. In that case, it'll just be the 6 damage, but then that gets doubled again, I guess. So back to 12. And then are we saying the damage is consistent for the whole round, or if I hit another one, do you want me to reroll?
If you do like Kravish did and you move, that's when they first enter your space. So if you move around and try to get all of them the way he did, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try something. Okay, yeah. Okay, so
what was the damage? The damage for going 12?
Allies. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. He's
okay, so
definitely taking more than you think he should.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then I can move like through allies' spaces, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna do on a sort of meandering, like past and then to here. Is that okay?
Yep.
So
I'll roll for that guy.
So that'll get this one, and then I think this one also.
Yep. So this guy rolled a 13. This guy rolled an 18.
Okay, and meets it means that it's taking the half, right?
Yeah.
That's correct.
It made the DC.
And I'm actually decently placed where I am. I may just stay here. So I have like 10 foot more movement. I wonder. No, that's not going to get me much. I could just go back to where I was before, but then I may as well just stay here. In that case, I'm going to take advantage of the advantage on this guy, and I'm going to summon my spiritual weapon and splash it.
Okay. Are you able to drop your weapon on the field, or do I have to do that for you?
I can do it, or at least I should be able to do it.
Yeah, ideally, everyone should.
Yeah, it does a...
Perfect.
16... Wait, well, a 19 actually with advantage is a 19 hit.
Yep, that does hit.
Okay, so it's taking 10.
Okay. Got it. All right. All right, Ken. It's good to see you. Don't worry, you're not going to miss much. We're going to end soon.
And all also, right. I'm going to, on my way as I move, I'm going to sort of shoot Kravish a look of like, can you believe this guy? You know, we told nothing but the truth, and yet we're having to deal with this.
I'm imagining his spirit guardians and your spirit guardians kind of like surrounding you guys and passing each other. And I'm imagining that meme of Umbrella Academy with Elliot Page looking at the younger brother in the car.
They're grousing each other. Yeah.
Yeah, like, huh?
Yeah, what do his spirit guardians look like, actually? Because Iona's look fey. His, like, So I know there's sort of three main
like little dragonelles, little small dragons.
Little what are they called? Pseudo dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Like little golf ball to softball size, little tiny spiritual dragons.
Yeah, I think Ionis is like the small and humanoid and spindly and maybe vaguely elfin, but sort of inhuman, but also the elf equivalent of inhuman.
I got it. What about those tooth fairies from Hellboy 2?
Hellboy 2, yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Just a little less toothy.
Yeah.
Those things were cool. I love those things. That's what I imagine when you talk about a tiny, like, evil looking fae. Is those things. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. It is Legistier's turn. First of all, these guys are going to back up all the way to here. They are not messing around with any kind of range. Legistier is going to perform Twisted Fate, and he is going to move in to the center of this room. Or actually, you know what? He's going to stay right where he's at, and he's not going to perform Twisted Fate. However, all four of his wraiths are going to aim at the two that just hurt them all. So, Kravish and Iona, I need you both to make Constitution saving throws as their outstretched arms rocket these venom web-slinging tendrils towards you, and you feel a profound sadness as they're going to bestow upon you the strings of misery. And that's 2 attempts from each. So, or 2 attempts on both of you. So I need 2 con saves. It's almost a disadvantage.
I got a nat 1 on the first, but that's sort of okay.
6 on the first one, nat 20 for a 23 on the second one.
Okay, so Kravish, you're fine. However, Iona, you are stricken with fear, or not fear. You're not frightened. You're stricken with misery until the end of your next turn, when you can make another con save. All of your attack actions are at disadvantage. Your sight is limited to 10 feet beyond you as you're racked with guilt and sorrow, and you're looking down. You can only see a space around you about 10 feet, which I think I can make another aura. I can. Let's do this. That's your sphere of influence that you can see. The other one missed you. So yeah, all your attack actions are a disadvantage, and anything beyond that sphere you can't see to target. Legistier is going to create a major image of himself there and here, and they're going to get all wibbly-wimely, and you're not going to know which one is the real dude. That is going to be his turn, and you see on either side, you look at either end of the bridge, and you see this darkening, ashy visage peel back a horrid skull inside of his hood, and you hear him hiss at you. I need everyone to make another wisdom saving throw. And let's see who gets frightened by the big, scary Grim Reaper. Dang, Kravish.
Nat 20 for a 22.
Wow. All right.
Another nat 1, which is kind of thematically appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are scary. So you are definitely frightened, Iona. I need a whiz save from Koza, from Yuno, from... okay. Let's see. What's a good scaredy cat icon?
Worst I have rolled in a long time.
Yeah, you're not rolling good today, buddy. Let's say... Oop, not that one. let's say you being collapsed in fear. So that's Iona, Koza, and we will see what Steph and Bogey roll next session, because we're going to cut her right there. As you all stand stock still, frozen in fear of this thing. And we'll see whether or not they are also frightened. Just so you know, you both, Iona and Koza, you cannot move in either direction because you're frightened of both images. Even though you can't even see it, Iona, but you know it's there. You know.
You know.
You know. So that is where we will pick up with this freak encounter on a bridge with a spooky, scary skeleton and his 4 little toadies. And we'll find out if you can convince him that you are as formidable as you say. But yeah, we will pick it up next time.
Alrighty, Daddy.
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun, guys.
Yeah, that was really fun. I had a good time taverning with you guys. That was cool. So, yeah, like I said to Steph, we're looking at the 22nd of March. And I hope everybody had fun. I certainly did. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Yeah.
All right. All righty. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.